Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. Today we're going to be doing a retrospective on the flying type. We're going to be exploring and explaining why every flying type has that attribute, and also understanding what the flying type is, right? Why is it not a wind type? Why is it not a bird type? And we'll even review a lot of Pokemon that should have the flying type but don't. My name is DustyGogoat. Today I'm with the LumiosePost.
Hello.
And SoulSilverArt.
What's up?
I'm glad we're continuing this series, guys. Let's open up the floor. I'd love to hear what you guys think the flying type actually represents.
I think when we think flying type, we do immediately go to like Staraptor, Kilowattrel, these birds. But then you do have just Pokemon that, like Tornadus, even though its Therian form is a bird, it itself is more so the flying type because it is controlling the wind in the air.
It's literally sitting on a cloud, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I feel like these are the maybe four categories that I think a lot of these flying types are going to fall under. And I'll say this, I think Pokemon chooses the name of the type based on something that is very easy to visualize, right? When you say the wind type, what does that mean? Wind is a feeling, but flying, that's something that we can, like, you think of a bird, you think of a plane, you think of yourself, right? You think of Superman, right? It's a very easy thing to visualize in your mind. So
that's a fun thing too, honestly, is that now with Scarlet and Violet, they have made, because like there's the types, right? But then there's also like classifications, like there's biting moves. Those are the moves that are going to get boosted by Strong Jaw. There's Iron Fist, the punching moves. And they've now made in Scarlet and Violet, this previously wasn't the case, but now there are wind moves. So they're not the wind type, but it's wind category of moves like Heat Wave, Blizzard, and Pokemon like so not just flying moves either. And Pokemon like Brambleghast and Kilowattrel, I think are the only two. They get boosts due to the wind, depending on their ability.
What is it? Wind.
One's Wind Power and one's Wind Rider.
Sure.
Wind Rider.
Wind Power boosts electric moves when it's hit by a wind move, or has Tailwind activated, and Wind Rider is attack rises.
So they're already, I mean, if we're trying to break this down, right, there already are a lot of wind association with the flying type, but there's also like mechanics, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is with the flying type, the thing is with flying type, I was saying this before the pod, but I think flying type is kind of there's a handful of typings, Pokemon typings, that are not just elemental, but more a description of the Pokemon's anatomy. I think flying type falls under that. I think we have the normal type, the flying type, maybe in a lot of cases it's the dragon type, bug type. These are like ways to characterize the physical anatomy of a lot of Pokemon. And as we saw in the first couple generations, every single flying type also had a normal type or a bug type, or I guess Zubat had a poison type. But actually, I say all that, but even going back as far as Gen 1, Gyarados always had that flying type, right? Which, what are the inspirations for Gyarados? Because Gyarados is obviously just a water serpent. The flying type always seemed very random.
I think they just didn't give it dragon because its dragon was too broken.
Yeah.
Back then, I mean, that was insane,
So they gave it the flying type just because, like we have to make it seem epic. And
you have to think
in the story.
The dragon typing back then, it would have been water dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And so its only weaknesses back then, because fairy wasn't a thing yet, would have been other dragons, because the water negates the ice weakness. So it would have only been weak to other Gyarados or Dragonite. And that is
so bad.
Way too broken.
There are so many.
The story, though, Dusty, is that just the Magikarp has to go up the stream, and once it goes up over
that's why Charizard has the flying typing instead of dragging as well. I mean, again, if it had the dragon typing, the fire typing would have negated the ice typing, so it would have only been weak to rock, ground, and then other
it would have been
dragons.
just too broken in Gen 1. I think it's something else that's really important to bring up, and this is something that I think I've been telling you guys forever. Like, I couldn't wait to do this episode for probably like over a year at this point. I think the bird type is hilarious, right? Thinking
that's part of the whole thing. So, like if you look at
so let's explain it.
How the flying type came to be,
No, absolutely.
Okay.
In Generation 1, there was like, I think it was the beta. It's like an unused. I think it's an unused typing in the code of the Gen 1 games.
I'm not even sure it's confirmed, but if you know, that's good.
I'm pretty
it's
sure
like
it's
one of those things that is passed down, and you're like, oh
you like
that's
don't even
gotta
know
be
how
it. Yeah, but I don't know for 100%.
So the bird type, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's accessible through
confirmed.
Missigno, right? Through these glitch Pokemon, you're able to access and activate, or at least visually see within the game that some Pokemon can be categorized as the bird type. And the way I have always interpreted that is it kind of suggests that originally the flying type was just the bird type, right? If
split,
the origins,
bird, but
yeah,
dude,
I think the origins. Go off.
This is about the bird type. So it is a confirmed thing that was scrapped, but it actually has like evidence of it even beyond Gen 1 because the Song of Origin, which is the Japanese ending theme of Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, which is a Gen 3 movie and a later Gen 3 movie because it's debuting Gen 4 Pokemon. It mentions the bird type in that song. Then an NPC in Vermilion City Gym and Fire Red and Leaf Green, which isn't the Gen 1 game, that's the Gen 3 remakes of Gen 1. Mentions a bird type, and then also the 4Kids dubs of the anime sometimes mentions a bird type, but of course that's a dub.
This is actually that's some cool evidence. I would say that the Gen 3 reference to bird Pokemon, that's not too surprising, but it is interesting. But like we also see,
it says bird type. It
doesn't say bird type Pokemon.
It says, according to this, it says bird type.
Okay. I mean, we've got bird keepers, shout out Toby. We've got, there's a lot of trainers that reference like fish Pokemon. I feel like there are a lot of these secondary typings for Pokemon. Like before the fairy type was initiated or introduced, there were Pokemon classified as like fairy Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
There was like a fairy egg group, right?
Yeah.
So this is, I think the bird type has been established as, I mean, maybe not established, but the bird type has been around forever. And
that's totally how I see it though. Like it was originally the bird type, and all of the bird Pokemon were supposed to be like the wind element kind of thing. And then it made the flying type unique to Pokemon though, because there's all kinds of like spin-offs of Pokemon kind of thing, not like official ones, but they're like they have the wind type or the air type, but Pokemon, it's the flying type because I think originally it was just birds. Yeah. Like all the birds were supposed to be there. Or it was split originally too, and they were like, let's put them together, because Zubat did have it as well. So.
Right, like it might have been too, like even like Charizard had the flying type, but Farfetch would have the bird type. Like maybe they were going to divide it.
Yeah, they were probably
it is kind of funny. Like when you look at
Dodrio
has the flying type, and it is a
fly.
land bird, but learns fly. So I mean,
you know what's really dumb about that? There must be an explanation, like in the Japanese mind, that I don't know.
Yeah,
because like Galarian Zapdos is also flying type.
It is.
I mean, it bugs the crap out of me. I'm like, bro, this is a Roadrunner bird. It is not.
Yeah.
It's not a flying bird. Like, why did we do this?
No. Well, and I think and this is where like certain steel type Pokemon aren't based on steel, but they still have the steel type, or it's the same thing as, like a Pokemon made of wood has the grass type, even though there's no grass on its body, right?
Well,
it really comes down to that explanation.
Wood makes sense with grass, I think.
Yeah,
to me,
I think it makes sense to us, but in other media franchises, it's usually called like the plant type. Yeah, right.
I mean, I get it's because it's just grass, but
play.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hit
right.
Play. You trying to play this?
Hit play.
Oh, is it a?
I've seen it. I've seen how he flies with his head.
I see.
There you go. Now we know.
Oh, that makes sense. This is how they do it. So Dodrio, yeah, the two heads are the wings.
It's kind of incredible.
It's been there the whole ridiculous.
Dodrio flies with its heads.
Yeah. So, and I also I don't want to spend too much time on this, right? Because I think it'd be fun to kind of go through each Pokemon. and actually like kind of dissect why they are the flying type. But I think it really can be categorized as these three things. Either the Pokemon literally has wings. It's a flight. It's a Pokemon that can, it has wings. It can take to the air, or it has, or it's literally a bird. Or I think the other thing is that it has a control of the wind in some way. I'm actually wondering, because we didn't see the Dark type until Generation 2. So what I'm thinking right now, when I think of wind and a wind elemental Pokemon, what I think of is Shiftry, which is a Dark type. And I'm wondering if there was maybe like some original inspiration, because the wind is honestly, like, the wind doesn't seem that detrimental, but it is as effective and dangerous and respected and feared as much as any other natural disaster, right? Think of like a tornado, right?
Yeah.
I think
it's huge.
It's so huge.
We're on the coast, we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get hurricanes all the time.
And that's what Tornadus is, right?
Damage.
Yeah.
Which is also a wind-based move. So
I think the flying type seems on surface just kind of as like a secondary type that like doesn't really matter. It just kind of, you slap it on something. But I wonder
if mostly what it is though too.
It is mostly like that.
I wish that we had like a proper wind type. I was always that kid that was like, I like the air element, like
it's cool.
That was my thing. I liked the green air element.
It could be as strong.
If you got a superpower, if you could pick a superpower for yourself, would you pick flight?
Probably, yeah. I mean, that's like one of the weaker ones. If we're talking like all the range of superpowers.
Speed.
Yeah,
but
there's
with
like
wind,
a million things.
But with wind, that gives you access to strength, right? It gives you access to flight because the wind is powerful.
Wind, bro. You just.
Oh, you're saying like wind powers, not flight. Yeah. Okay, I got you.
You could make yourself fly with the power of wind.
Yes,
easily,
because you just push yourself up, right?
Yep. It's actually probably more practical than you actually flying, because like birds have to have like hollow bones and all that to fly.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
They just float, with us, or we're like dense. So if we were flying in the sky, we'd be like, I'm falling. I'm dead.
More glide.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that them having an official wind type, that's the one problem with the flying type, is they focus it more on like it being a secondary, like, oh, it can fly. Oh, it's a bird. But never as much like it's related to the air and the wind. Like Brambleghast should be a flying type, but it can't be because it's not a bird, or it doesn't have wings.
Yeah, right. It's not a bird.
It's not a flying type.
To emphasize that point, like to back that up, I think we've discussed this before, but you kind of have typing. Sometimes they're first and sometimes they're second. And it seems like when they're first, that means like they're, more so what the Pokemon is. It's the primary typing.
Yeah.
But like Charizard, it's clearly more of a fire type than it is a flying type.
And it has access to flight.
But we did not get our first primary flying until Generation 5 with Tornadus, which is only flying type.
Yeah.
Not including Arceus, of course. And then we didn't get our primary flying with another type until Gen 6 with Noivern.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah. It was kind of, it literally is one of the most, like, it's like off the, just like, I'm sure there's a lot of people going into this podcast thinking like, why are they dissecting flying type? It's not interesting at all. But there is a lot there that is just like untapped. And the more we talk about this, like, I love all of these type deep dives that we are doing, because it is interesting to see what the origins of a lot of these types are and how the attributes, how they kind of bubble up in certain designs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think with this whole idea that they only started giving the primary flying type to Pokemon recently is also them recently branching out and being like, oh, we can give the flying type to like more wind-based Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a more modern idea, because before it's mostly birds. Even Tornadus, like, its Therian form is a bird too.
Yeah. Right.
It's not bird still.
That's true.
And it literally is like supposed to be like it controls winds. So like it's purely flying, literally.
Yeah. So taking a look at how the flying type interacts with other typing, right? So flying type offensively is super effective against the fighting type, the bug type, and the grass type. And to me, I really just look at this as like birds eat bugs, and birds eat berries and plants. And to me, that is why they're super
professional
effective.
martial artists.
Yeah. And then the flying type is super effective against fighting type. I always just saw that as like fighting types are on the ground, right? They don't have the advantage, right?
That's probably what it is. I could never figure it out. I have no idea. I was about to ask. I'm like, why is it really effective against fighting types, though?
Yeah, it's like you always have the advantage. That's how I think
it might have to do with the wind, though, too. Like
it could be, yeah.
If they were using wind moves against somebody that needs to get close to you, because they need to get physically to you.
No, that's
just hit them with wind.
It's weak to rock, electric, and steel because if you throw a rock at a bird, it dies. If you hit it with lightning, it dies. And if you
shoot it with a gun,
steel piece of iron on it, it'll die.
I was thinking an arrow, or I was thinking
you can shoot it with a bullet. It's gonna die.
It's true though. What's that saying?
Here's your fun fact about birds. Cannot throw a rock at them.
The saying is hitting two birds with one stone. That is how I always interpreted the rock typing.
Which, when you think about that, like whoever was just like, we throw rocks at birds, like that's what we do.
Well, it's probably for hunting.
Well, it might have been with a slingshot.
Hunting
with
I guess to eat one.
Yeah.
The electricity is because
you ever had duck? Duck is great.
Yeah,
chicken.
True.
Chicken.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I was gonna explain the steel type, but that doesn't actually. That's only for basically. Basically the steel type is just like it resists everything that's physical in my mind.
I had no idea that it was even weak to the steel type, but that makes sense because
it's not weak. It's not weak to steel type.
Oh, it resists it.
It resists steel type. Resists flying type.
Right.
But flying type is actually weak to defensively, the rock, electric, like we just said, and then the ice type. I would imagine that birds fly south for the winter, right?
And if you stab a bird with an icicle,
oh my God,
it always comes back to that.
What gets us demonetized out here? Are we allowed to say?
No, we're allowed to say this. And it's fictional.
We're saying it about birds. It's fine.
But if it's not clear enough, like all of these attributes have to do with the fact, or they all interact with the imaginary idea of a bird. Like honestly, a bird type, if it was called the bird type, that actually makes way more sense. It is actually more in line with Pokemon typings in general. Right. It literally, all of these Pokemon should be bird type, literally, unless they split it up. Unless they split up bird and flying type. Like
but I would hate that. I would really hate it. It's like, I mean, I want my wind type. I don't want.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if we got the wind type, like that. I guess it's a combination of everything. That's birds the thing. Cool. Like all of these types.
I love birds, but
all of these types are a combination of things.
And don't throw rocks at them.
And it is great. This is great that flying type is actually one of the only types to have a direct immunity to another typing. Flying type is immune to the ground type, which is actually really powerful. Like that's a huge buff to any Pokemon.
See, that's kind of more like your fighting example there. It's just like I'm up in the air, so you can't hit me ground. Kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The reason it beats fighting, I mean, you can also again think of it like if a giant bird ate a martial artist, he would die. So
where are we going with this? What more? I guess so.
So let's take a look. So anyways, I wanted to take a look at that. But let's jump into now the actual like Pokemon that have these typings. We're going to categorize these as pure flying types, half flying types, and then secondary flying types, which I don't even think we're going to get into it, but I don't even think half of these like secondary, these primarily flying type, dual type Pokemon, I don't even think they should, it doesn't even make sense. It's not even consistent with why.
You don't make sense.
With why they are primarily flying type.
It's really a weird type. We'll just say that. It's like a confusing type.
It's inconsistent.
It's one of those types that it's not confusing. Like when you first go, flying type's not confusing. But if you think hard about it, you start to go, wait. Yeah. And you realize.
I think Tornadus.
Why shouldn't that be a flying type?
That is a
why
flying
is
type.
this a flying type? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Tornadus is a beautiful example for a wind type. It also makes sense it's a flying type. They could make it a bird type because its Therian form is literally a bird. It's like
With
a
a
bird
bra.
dragon.
With a bra.
Yeah, with a bra. But I think this is
And
a great
cleavage.
Pokemon.
It is interesting they gave it cleavage. Can we talk about that for a moment? Why did
No,
they do
I'd
that?
rather not.
I hate the cleavage of these creatures.
He was
Those are
hiding the
men,
cleavage the whole
technically,
time.
Like, bro.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah,
He's like,
you never
"This is
knew.
how I'm actually nude. I'm just covering.
Right.
Just covering it.
But then as a bird, he's like, he's fine with it, you know?
He's got a bra on, so he's all right.
So look at this. Tornadus is Pokedex entry in black version says the lower half of its body is wrapped up in a cloud of energy, which is kind of cool, right? That is the wind power, right? What is a cloud of energy? You know,
It's an energy that's been shaped into a cloud.
yeah.
Yes.
Tornadus expels massive energy from its tail, causing severe storms. Its power is great enough to blow houses away. Again, this is the embodiment of a wind type. I think at this point in Gen 5, this is when Pokemon was like, we need to literally make these Pokemon actually wind elements, right? We need to branch out the flying type a little bit further. But it really is it's a great entry into the field. The other only pure flying type, right? Because that set the scale. But the only other pure flying type that we've ever had is Rookidee in Corvisquire, which is like, again, why is it not normal flying? There's no reason why this Pokemon should not be normal flying.
It's just because it was gonna grab the steel typing, you know.
But give it the normal type. It should have the normal type like any other
weird
bird
because
Pokemon.
Fletchling had normal flying despite evolving into fire flying, but Rookidee they were just like, pure flying's fine.
Yeah,
I really think it's
probably
just
diversity.
I mean, it definitely has to do with like using that type that many times.
Yeah.
But and like balance. But I also think that they just realized more recently that they're like, we can just give Pokemon flying type instead of putting normal too. You know?
Yeah.
They were just like,
but they weren't consistent
and they
with it.
shunned him out of the office.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? No, we're gonna wait like 20 years before we actually just use the flying type as a type.
Which is weird because it's not that broken of a typing, you know? Like, yes, it gets the immunity, but it's weak to rock. Everything gets rock slide, just about. Then it's weak to electric, and it's weak to steel resistant, and it's weak to ice. A lot, like any water type gets ice beam. So
yeah, I think before we continue, I actually wanted to touch on this as well. We have these are a bunch of flying type moves that I think are just kind of interesting to look at, right? Because again, this is a description. This is the direct evidence of how Game Freak is thinking about this typing, right? It's the actual move distribution. Some of these don't really make sense. Like the first one on the list is acrobatics.
You ever seen acrobatic? They fly through the air pretty much.
Yeah, I'm actually.
That's fair.
I was gonna say I'm actually tempted to look at the Japanese inspirations for these names, which aren't on Serebii. So
if you click
not
the
all
name,
of these are
he'll
going to
have
be
it.
correct. Yeah, not all of these are going to be correct.
It'll have the Japanese name.
Yeah,
but click it to go to the page, and it'll have the Japanese name.
Yeah, acrobatics.
Oh, and it's just in Japanese. Right. Never mind.
But that does make sense.
No translation.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, so that's going to be a little bit different. But aerial ace, that's a flying type. Aeroblast is kind of that's the energy of the
that
cloud
was Lugia's
energy.
Move. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Lugia's move.
So Lugia was like primarily, I think, well, not primarily, but a flying type. So it was a big deal.
But its description is a vortex of air. This is a wind element,
It is.
A wind type. Air cutter, wind.
Yeah, Lugia
air
controls
slash,
like storms and stuff too.
Wind. Yeah. And again, everything that we're saying, you're going to see this in here. Beak blast, right?
Bird.
Brave bird. Chatter
which
is a bunch of birds chattering.
So Crobat is a bird confirmed.
Yeah. I wish. What is this? What does this mean?
You can type to English and it should pop right up.
It literally means brave bird. But it probably doesn't
I can't see it.
Buri Bubado.
You can push the sound and it'll say it.
It's brave bird in Japanese too.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, Bray Barbado.
Yeah, he's hearing it, but we're not. Anyway.
Sounds like bird.
fun.
Here we go. I want to go over a couple more. Fly, feather dance, dual wing beat, drill, peck. It's crazy seeing all these.
That drill peck, I always think of Firo. Like,
yeah, me too.
Always Firo.
Don't forget my boy Floaty Fall.
But then you got Gust. Yeah, Floaty Fall, right? That's Eevee's move. Gust, Hurricane, Max Airstream, Mirror Move, Oblivion Wing. Literally, it's either wind or it's just a bird's. It's like the attribute of a bird. Wing attack is the most obvious one. There's not even that many flying type moves, to be honest.
I mean, in fairness, wing attack. Birds aren't the only animals with wings. I mean, like a bat does have wings.
It's true. Yes, but when I'm thinking about this, like
steel move, steel wing.
Steel wing's a steel move. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
That has nothing to do with flying types, but
no, but it's an elemental wing attack. But anyways, I just wanted to pull these up because I think they're pretty. A lot of these moves are like kind of iconic.
Do you know
they're like buffed up normal type moves?
On the subject of Steel Wing, because I think that's kind of related. What with it? While it's not a flying move, it is a flying based in a way.
Yeah.
Do you know that Elgium gets Steel Wing?
Wow.
Elgium?
No, I did not know that.
The theory behind it is that it was in Kalos, I believe. It was TM51, and that's when Elgium got it. And so a lot of people theorize it's because of Area 51.
Wow.
That's so random.
But yeah.
What? That is so bizarre.
Personally, I think what it is it learned TM51 in black and white, and they forgot to like translate it over correctly. And so it still was learning TM51, even though that was Steel Wing.
I'm not seeing TM51 on Bulb.
Well,
at least not for Gen 9.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's pretty interesting.
So Elgium is also a bird.
Yeah.
How cute is that?
Confirmed. I know, it's a good Pokemon. We're gonna be doing
he has a tail.
Type. Yeah, he does have a tail. It's a good Pokemon. I really do like it. It reminds me of Ralts a lot. It's a good Pokemon. All right. These are the primary flying types, which again, I think historically there usually is a lot of significance when it comes to the order of the typing. If a Pokemon is primarily flying type, for example, that is going to be the main attribute. To me, that would suggest, honestly, to me, that should mean the Pokemon is more of a bird. Or, I guess maybe not, because that would be the normal type. Or maybe it is just like, it has like mastery of the wind, right? And I could see that with Corviknight, and I could see that with Noivern, but I don't see that for Cramorant. What the heck is Cramorant? Should be water first. It fishes, right? Bombardier? Yeah, I guess maybe. Bombardier
for the
makes
record,
sense.
I've never seen a Cormorant fly. I know they can, but I don't think I've ever seen one flying.
Flamigo doesn't even, I mean, I think it can fly, but it's always walking. It should be primarily fighting type. So I disagree with this, honestly, this whole list. What do you guys think?
The entire thing.
I think I honestly do.
I think they now don't really do it based on what it more so is. I think now they do it for diversity. You know what I mean? Like, if we say Flamigo is flying fighting, now it's just a little bit different from Halucha, who is fighting flying, you know?
Yeah, they do.
But Halucha should be primarily flying.
I don't think so. It glides. It doesn't fly.
Yeah, I don't even think it should be flying, to be honest.
No, we needed that typing. It'd been too long.
It's about the typing. It's not even about what the Pokemon looks like. So to me, Cramorant should.
Well, they give it to gliders. They give it to Emolga, Gligar.
Yeah, look at Cramorant's wings. Does it fly? Like, it's like one of those that are just like.
I think it's depicted flying in you can see it fly in Sword and Shield. It's really like light off the ground, and it's just kind of flapping those little wings. But I think when you see it in the wild in Sword and Shield, specifically in the Isle of Armor, I mean
everything that I'm seeing is just it in the water.
Yeah, right. It should be, at least it should be primary water.
Yeah, like I mean the flying type is flying because it's literally it's a bird that flies. Yeah. But this is just silly, you know?
Yep. I mean, the whole thing is silly, to be honest.
Which is fine. Silly Pokemon are great. But
in the anime, its wings are bigger.
Sense. Yeah. We've got... Yeah. I think... What do you guys think about Corviknight? Because I like Corviknight a lot. And again, I don't know, man. I'm just like,
I
why is it primarily flying type?
It
make
should
just
be
because
primarily steel.
It's just because it gains the steel type. You know what I mean? Like its first stages are flying. So why would they swap it? You know, it just the steel is like armor on top of the flying Pokemon.
But I think it should be normal flying, and then the normal type gets changed to steel. That's how it's worked, and I don't care about the patterns, but just for consistency, like if this is like this,
you do care about the patterns.
No, I know what I'm saying is like, I'm not saying it should just be that, just because that's how it's been, but I think it makes sense with how it's been. Like it's consistent. Right. It's the same logic with how it's been, so that's why it should be the same.
I personally think that Game Freak does not really like to change types, like to swap their types.
Probably,
like that.
Yeah.
They try to avoid it.
Maybe it's partly like a coding thing. Maybe it makes it easier to let it gain a typing rather than replace a typing.
Possibly.
This is kind of off topic, but how awesome would it be if like in the future they made like one of the, not even a gimmick, but kind of a gimmick where they change the types like really drastically every time like they evolve. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or like an actual gimmick. I mean, it happens, but I'm talking about like drastically.
Okay, maybe I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, give an example.
Are you not describing Terrastal?
No, I mean like form change, if that makes sense. Yes, Terrastal, but your
so
Pokemon.
I can change my Cramorant to be an so basically Terrastal, but just my Cramorant will now look like an electric type and not just have a lightning bulb on its head.
Like a regional form?
And it would be like an evolution or a form that's like like set for that Pokemon. It wouldn't just be like you can change it to whatever.
So like Mega Evolution and Terrastal mixed together.
Kind of.
But I would say we just need more Megas. Even though I don't care about Megas, but Megas literally.
Here's the thing.
You could change the type on a Mega.
Megas. Here's the thing with Megas though, is it usually keeps like one of its old types, or
sure.
You know what I mean? There's some that rarely do it, but what I'm talking about is like,
I don't think there's any where they've completely altered like neither one of their original typing stayed the same.
You know what, dude? You know what you want? You know what you want?
I don't know.
You
there
want
might be
armor evolution. You want your Nidoking to get an armor plate that is infused with an energy. So now it changes from poison ground to, you know, if it's leather armor, I don't know. Maybe if it's steel, it's leather armor, so it becomes fighting, and then it's got like a fire energy to it. So it's now you have a Nidoking that is fire. Fighting type, for example.
That's a good example, kind of.
There's Pokemon.
The idea's there.
There's Pokemon, of course, that like gain a typing, like Ampharos gains Dragon. Aggron even loses a typing. He loses the Rock typing.
Sure.
And then some even trade a typing, like Charizard trades Flying for Dragon.
Or Altaria.
Altaria changes Flying for Fairy,
which we're going to talk about in this video.
There's no Pokemon that does not have one of its original typings.
There you go. See, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, just imagine Corviknight. It's flying steel, and then all of a sudden Corviknight's a bad example. Cramorant. It's flying water. It gets an evolution, but its evolution is pure dark. You know, something like that. Just boom.
Something completely different.
Crazy. It would spice up the whole.
In a way, that's kind of regional forms, right? Like
a little bit. Yeah.
Farfetch was normal flying, now it's fighting.
Or a ground type Cubone that evolves into a fire ghost type Marowak.
That's also true. Yeah, ground type Cubone evolves into fire ghost Marowak.
That's probably the closest example. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is cool. I think that is interesting when that happens.
I'm just saying, in the future, like future games, if they like really like made it the gimmick or like the feature is like all these Pokemon are changing into, and it would be like a progression of the Pokemon. Anyway, it's off topic, but
I dig it.
I'll say this: Noivern and Noibat do make sense to be flying dragon because they're primarily bats. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. That have draconic energy. So I'm cool with
like,
that.
If you look at them, you don't necessarily, especially Noibat, you don't go, oh, that's a dragon. But like with Dragonite,
even Noivern, you're like, is it a dragon? It's just kind of like a crazy bat.
It looks very wyvern-like for sure.
It does, yeah. It does. I wanted to actually.
The real question is, before you go on to that, the real question is, why isn't it a sound type or like the normal type? You know, because it has flying type. It's definitely flying. but like then it has all these sound elements, and you're like,
where's
come
the
on,
sound?
what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Anyway,
that would be a cool type to introduce. I think we kind of overlooked it, but I actually think Corviknight probably has the primary flying type because of its Gigantamax design that they planned from the start, right? The whole concept is that it's this like warship or this like war, this like what would you call it? Like a warplane, and then it's got these little bird missiles, right, that are made of steel that just shoot out and attack the enemy.
Gen 8 tier list.
Yeah, this is such a cool Pokemon. I love this so much.
Yes.
But honestly, that would explain why it's flying.
It's so funny you say the Gen 8 tier list, and at the time of recording, not by the time of uploading, but at the time of recording, we haven't even posted the Gen 7 one yet.
I know, but we have to do the Gen 8 one still.
Yeah.
And we might split it with the Gigantamaxes.
Yeah.
I think we should. Anyway. We did with Megas. But yeah.
So, and honestly, we should probably just be like, if it's a bird, we could probably just explain it. It's a flying type because it's a bird. I think Bombardier literally has bird in the name. It's a flying type because it's a bird.
But I feel like there's times where they are birds and they still don't get the flying type.
That is true. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at the end, I think. Yeah, we'll talk about those Pokemon at the end.
My goat.
Flamigo, another flamingo that's flying fighting type. This could very easily have been water.
Flamingos are birds,
fighting.
Kids.
It's kind of just like we don't know what other thing to give it, so it's a bird and we're just gonna give it flying.
Charizard, another bird.
To its credit, like it is more interesting. Yeah, so secondary flying type Pokemon, maybe it doesn't matter, but there's a lot here, and they're all
of course
just things that can get off the ground. There's literally actually a ton of Pokemon here, so let's maybe skip over the birds. All right, so Charizard.
You don't have to, but
Charizard has wings, and it can fly. It's a
Mega
salamander.
Charizard. It goes even harder into the flying, like the
Can Gigantamax Charizard fly?
It doesn't even have wings.
No, it doesn't have wings.
It does. They're made of fire. They're made of fire.
Yeah, but they could have just removed it.
I need to rewatch Ash versus Leon and see if his Gmax Charizard flew.
I never even thought about it flying.
It doesn't fly. It's also way too big to fly.
They should have got rid of the flying type with this one. Just pure fire. That's fine.
I mean,
I don't
it's
think the
Gmax.
Gmax.
No, the Gmax has changed typing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not at all?
Nope.
So there's really no good in-game explanation for this. I mean, it's honestly a cool design. It's just like a Charizard maxed out on fire.
Yeah, but my boy don't fly.
My boy don't fly. It should be just a fire. This would be Fire Dark. That'd be kind of cool because it looks like smog. Yeah, Mega Charizard X should have the flying type still. I guess maybe not.
No, because it leans into the dragon. It's like
it does.
We're gonna lean into the flying and we're gonna lean into the dragon.
Yeah. So we got Butterfree here again, and I get so annoyed by the bug flying type. It's not even that popular, but it just seems so like it's like bug is a secondary element, flying is a secondary element. Why does Butterfree not have a psychic type? Why does Butterfree
not a secondary element?
It really is, dude. It really is.
No.
It is.
Again, some of these things, bug is not a secondary element.
It's not an element. It's not an elemental type.
I know, but not all Pokemon types are elements. They're
right.
just things.
A rock is
they're
not
attributes.
An element.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But I think with Butterfree, the reason Butterfree is not bug psychic is, again, you have to look at these things in the time they came out.
Yeah.
Gym 1, psychic typing's really broken, and you get a Butterfree before the first gym.
Yeah. Also, like, in early generations, they were, like, just putting flying type on everything as, like, a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, bug flying was a main thing. Normal flying.
It hindered it a lot, too.
Yeah.
Which was good. Like, that was needed.
They probably were like, it's a bug and it flies. Bug flying. That's it.
I know,
like,
exactly.
They were just thinking simple in those terms because they weren't thinking that they would have 10 generations of Pokemon later on that would be like, oh, this is...
They did not think that some clown will be getting on here saying Butterfree should be bug psychic 20 years later.
We are. Give it to us in Gen 10.
Charizard flies, Mega Charizard flies, or Gmax Charizard flies. I've been playing Ash versus Leon. Wow.
Oh, dude, I kind of want to see it.
Does it fly?
Dang
it. When it uses its Gmax Wildfire, it flies up and then shoots the wings out off of its back.
That's crazy.
All right.
That's kind of cool.
Freak. I'll give you that one.
I think so. I was gonna say this earlier, but like the creation of Pokemon, the whole inspiration behind Pokemon in general is that, it was based on catching insects, catching birds, catching little things, right? Well, mostly
birds.
Mostly
Birds are my favorite type of
mostly
insects.
collecting bugs. But I think it was expanded. The idea was expanded when creating Pokemon to neighborhood animals that live like just in the forest or live near your house or whatever, right? And I think that's probably why the bird type was initially or at least bird Pokemon were such a focus in Generation 1, right? There's so many like regular birds, regular bugs, regular animals, right? Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of weird ones.
They were more just animals.
Yeah,
like this is our animal.
Exactly.
So we're gonna catch it.
Animal. Yeah, it's the animal type. All right, so we got Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot. Does not need a lot of explanation. Mega Pidgeot is so crazy, and I think leans into the wind elements.
Mega Pidgeot's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like this. I am the ethereal bird.
Yeah, this is the master of the
no
skies.
Guard. They gave that
Super
son of a
Saiyan.
gun no guard.
That's so good.
My guy is Super Saiyan bird.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
Spearow, no explanation.
We got Spearow. We got Fearow. It's just a bird. It's just a normal type bird. This should be a dark type. Obviously, it's not that because it didn't exist.
I don't think it. I mean, it could, but I think
just
like
an
a
angry
regional
bird.
form or an evolution could get a dark type.
Yeah, an evolution
That
would be cool.
itself, especially Spearow, is just like a bird.
No,
Personally,
Spearow
I think
can
it
be
should
just
have
a
been
bird.
fighting flying.
That would be cool. Or
That makes
ground
more
fighting.
sense.
Ground.
Because
No,
Fearow looks so rough
it does.
around the edges, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. Yeah. Zubat, poison flying. Actually, an interesting type for how common Zubat is. It actually is a unique type.
Yeah, there's not many Pokemon that have the poison flying type. Off the top of my head, Zubat's the only one I can think of.
Well, Soul, you kind of mentioned it earlier with Noivern, but like Noivern is a bat that obviously uses echolocation and it leans into the sound type with its signature move Boom Burst. But even Zubat and Golbat kind of fit the bill, right? It's flying because it is something that flies, but also maybe the fourth or the fifth attribute to the flying type, or the thing that flying type represents, is the sound type.
It a lot of times does.
Usually that's normal.
Yeah, I would say normal, electric, and maybe ground, and then flying
I gotta
type.
say, it's weird that they're poison type too. Like they should be like sound type. They should be like the whole supersonic is like their main thing. Like
I looked it up, and they are the only poison flying type. Is the Zubat line. After all these years, they are the only poison flying type.
Are you kidding me?
We're due for another one then.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
I will say they're underrated.
Scarlet and Violet, so we should have gotten one then, dadgummit.
Yeah.
We'll get one.
They're underrated because we've seen them for so long.
Yeah.
And we see them so frequently. But like Zubat is a great design.
It's so good. I love the silhouette.
It doesn't even have eyes, you know?
No, it doesn't.
It's sound based.
Its silhouette looks like a hypnosis. Like if you like connected these parts of its wings, it kind of makes a circle. You connect this, that kind of makes a circle. I don't know.
Bro, they would never make a Pokemon like this nowadays.
We say that, but they made what is it called? Woobat.
That was not that. That was a long time ago too.
And that's pretty different from this.
I'm just talking about it has no eyes and it looks creepy. And I wish that I wish that a normal Pokemon would get that instead of like a freaking Ultra Beast or something.
They make some creepy Pokemon now.
Are they only legendaries though?
Oh.
Gotta find me a creepy Pokemon. Look at this.
I can get you one easily from Gen 9.
But the flying type makes sense on this also. I mean, obviously. We don't need to go in depth with
this. Did you say Oinkalone?
Oinkalone is very creepy.
You put me on the spot.
I think maybe Houndstone.
Houndstone and Grievard are kind of...
But they're not...
But they do have more of a goofy element. You're right.
Yeah,
they're still
it's
dogs.
Always the goofiness is still there. That Zubat is just like a terror.
Yeah, it looks like a leech. I think Farfetch'd, honestly, it has the flying type, of course, but
he is the duck.
Dude, this is where I'm like, regional forms end up being just like a way to fix a Pokemon without actually fixing the design, or like it's like you give the fix to a different Pokemon essentially, rather than giving it to the Pokemon that people love. People love Farfetch'd. It should have just been fighting flying, or give it the grass flying type. I don't know,
Yeah.
Like,
I
it's a
agree.
bird, just make it flying type. But it has to be normal flying, and now it's like as boring as anything else. Doduo
I really
and
think it's just because it
Dodrio.
was Gen 1.
No,
But,
I know. But we're looking
Well, we
at
know
this.
how
We're
Dodrio
looking.
flies now.
That's not an excuse for everything though, because
but
like
how does Doduo fly?
we're looking at this through a
The
lens.
two heads are
from
wings. It just doesn't look
2024.
where it's going.
Yeah, I think Doduo and Dodrio should be ground flying, if anything,
Ground flying?
I mean,
because they
you won't
don't
be
leave the ground,
technical.
and they are
They
also
should be
they're safari
normal
Pokemon.
ground.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that is what I think that's what I meant, not flying type.
I was about to say flying ground is.
No, I think that's what I meant.
Really, it makes 0 sense still.
I think
always thought of
they
it-
should be dragon
No.
Yeah.
Grounds.
because you cut off one head, two more took its place.
That is kind of cool how
Is that
there's
how
some
it evolved?
parallels
Someone
to it
cut
being
off
a,
its head.
it's like a
Maybe.
Hydra. It's a Hydra. But I think honestly normal ground would be really nice. Scyther having the flying type, again, they were just like, this bug flies. But there's nothing, actually I say nothing that has to do with.
No, I kind of like that this one was flying.
I do too, because
Kind of
it-
made sense
it's like,
to me.
It is kind of like, it's like a wind cutter, right?
hmm
It's like,
But it
it's
has
so
the wings
quick.
too,
It does have the wings.
It does fly.
It does fly.
Pinsir
And then Mega
flies as well.
Pinsir, Pinsir Mega evolved, got wings, and they just gave it the flying type as if it should.
I like that though.
No,
like that.
give it the dark type. Give it the fighting
Well,
type.
That
But
may
it
have
opened up
been
its
to reference
shell.
that they were like kind of counterparts back in the day,
Mhm,
Pinsir and
mhm.
Scyther.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it is kind of.
I
cool
like
to see
that they
these
did
right
that.
here next to each other.
The wings are like the main thing on Mega Pinsir, so it's like, why not? And it's a
Yeah.
beetle.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know how I feel about Mega Pinsir.
You don't? It's
Nope.
disgusting.
That's kind of where I lean, but there are aspects of it that I do like.
Some things, some small things. We've talked about it on the,
The
Mega
color of its
tier
wings,
list.
the very hexagonal pattern.
I think it's eyes and like mouth and everything are what really tripped me out.
Yeah,
And those random like barbs through its shell. It's weird. What was next? You left us.
I'm kind of jumping around. So we got Gyarados next.
Well, the
which-
other list doesn't. This list doesn't include megas until the bottom.
Yeah, the megas will be at the bottom, but I think it's easier for people to see what we're actually talking about.
Okay.
So
I'm
Gyarados
confused.
again, we talked about it in the beginning, but again, I think if this was any other generation, it would very easily be Gyarados would be Water Dragon type, and if not, it got a Mega, and they gave it the Dark type for being this like horrible beast that just rampages in an outrage.
Yeah, apparently there's a good reason for that, but
Gyarados
I
is
don't, I don't
misunderstood.
know what it is.
I think it's that it's literally the destruction Pokemon. What is it called? It's like here we go.
Big ugly fish. It turns back into a
Big
fish.
ugly
It's called the atrocious Pokemon. I think it's in think of like the Lake of Rage. It literally is a Pokemon that I feel like Magikarp to Gyarados is kind of like, it's not Mega Evolution, but it's the type of evolution where it looks pained to even exist.
Mhm.
You know?
I just think they gave it the dark type because it has the dark color. It's like they did like the typical Pokemon fan thing with like Luxray should be
Yeah.
a dark type because it's got black on it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know that Mega Gyarados is the tallest dark type tied with Hoopa Unbound?
Interesting.
Now
Wow.
you know.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you know. We probably
Aerodactyl,
should-
this is
should
this
move.
is where we get really silly. And I think Aerodactyl being rock flying is
No, it's cool. You don't
It-
like it?
no, I don't dislike it. I just don't think it's that great of a type. I guess it's not awful. I think what's cool here, I don't know. It's like if it's a bird, flying type makes sense. If it's wind inspired, that makes sense. But if it's just a thing with wings, I'm like, there's probably other typings because
I mean,
It flies.
dinosaurs are
But it's so
very
lame.
related to birds.
that's
so-
true. That is true. That's hilarious. That is
It
true.
flies. That's the reason.
That is so
Mhm.
true. Actually,
Rock-
birds are related to
Yeah.
dinosaurs, which in the Pokemon universe, dinosaurs are dragons. So flying types are actually really related to dragon type, which is why Gyarados and
No, seriously.
Charizard have
look
the
at-
flying type.
Look at Archeops. Archeops is like supposed to be the first bird or whatever,
Yeah,
and it gets a bunch of dragon moves.
yeah. No, absolutely. It really does. I feel, and the theory with the fossil Pokemon is that the rock type is a kind of a leftover of them being partial or
Right. The rock
resurrected
had
from
to
a
be-
fossil.
Mhm.
And then the rock type actually covers up a dormant type that isn't existing at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine Aerodactyl was dragon flying since Lance states that it's a dragon type, or a dragon Pokemon, I mean, not dragon type.
True.
And I think it's in the Dragonite group.
Yeah.
So.
The legendary birds, they're flying.
They're birds, so they're flying.
They're birds.
Simple as that.
This one actually makes sense, though. It's like...
Yeah, it does.
That's what we want.
It's cool.
Legendary
like the first
flying type.
Yeah, legendary flying type. That is cool.
Dragonite also flies. That also might have been a way to hinder it back in the day, give it more weaknesses.
Yeah,
potentially. Yeah,
I think so.
Because
is that what the flying type really is, though? Is that what the flying type is? It's like
the nerf type,
handicap kind of thing. Like
back in the day, it really might have been.
That's like
it
hilarious.
Really might have been.
It's like we put the flying type to make it weaker.
No, I mean, think about it. It is true because Gyarados, like now, quad weak to electric. One electric hit, you're dying. You're also now weak to rock, which was one of the things you beat. With Dragonite, you're not just weak to Dragon and Ice now. You're super weak to Ice, and you're also weak to rock too, But, I think it was...
But the handicap also gives you an immunity to rock type, ground type, which could be helpful.
It does, yeah.
That could be it. That could be part of the inspiration.
Definitely.
All right, well, let's move on.
In Gym 1, most of the ground types were also
I do
rock.
also want to say about the legendary birds that they really... It's dumb that they kept, like, the flying... Or I don't know, their typings are just messed up, man. They could have done something different. I mean the Galarian one, sorry.
Yeah, you wanted the flying type. So, like, you wanted Zapdos to be electric fighting instead of fighting flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's
like that.
I do think it's interesting seeing them all together because then it's like, okay, there's 6 legendary birds and they have all these different elemental types it's like pick your poison. There's ice, psychic, electric, fighting, fire, dark. I like seeing them all together like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Hoothoot, Noctowl, or Owls. They are the flying type. Ladybug and Ladian. Soul's favorite is Ladian. And it's just a flying type. Why not
it's
give
flying type because it sucks.
Why not give it...
Why did they do this to it? It doesn't even
type.
Fly, really.
It should be fighting. It really should be bug
Ladybugs
fighting. It gets Iron Fist. It has like all these punching moves that it learns.
This is what frustrates me about
it's based on a common rider. Like,
yeah, the flying here was like, what were they thinking, really? I mean, I get that it has wings, but that's really just...
Yeah.
It also might have been a bit of a like homage to Butterfree, maybe, like because Ariados is bug poison like Beedrill, Ledion is bug flying like Butterfree.
I think you're right. That probably is what that was. So we have those generate. It's like let's recreate the gold. Let's remake the decks. Yeah, Crobat, poison flying is a continuation of Zubat. We talked about this last month. Togetic being fairy type, but also having a flying type. I guess it's just like an angel. That's the idea here, where it is this little fairy creature that is winged, and it's a fairy. It's based on a fairy that flies. It's an angel.
Winged or winged?
I don't. It's the same thing, right?
Winged or winged?
Winged.
I say winged.
Just easier to say winged.
But I'm Southern, so
yeah.
I don't know.
I say everything wrong.
And Xatu are birds.
Hoppip, they're cool birds.
They are pretty cool birds.
Hoppip's a cat, which is a type of bird.
Dude, I honestly that is a meme, but I totally believe it. Hoppip is a cat. It's a cat.
No, it's not a meme. That's like totally.
It is a cat.
It is. It's a cat.
100% a cat.
It's a cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is the type of flying type that I love. This is like one of the first introductions of the wind type, right?
But it kind of makes it terrible still.
What? Oh, as like because of the typing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but grass flying. This is so interesting because you see the life cycle of a dandelion from a weed to the flower to the little puff petals,
just like flying away.
It's cute. It gets caught in the wind. That is beautiful. Like I love this. It's not a strong Pokemon, but this is great for world building.
Jumpluff is often seen in VGC.
Yeah. All right. There we go. What does it get? Prankster?
Well, it gets chlorophyll, so it can take advantage of the suns and all.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not like it's not the number one choice, especially now that Venusaur's in the game.
Yeah.
But Joseph Ugarte used one, made it pretty far in the regionals at one point. I think he made top 5.
I got a shiny one. That feels good.
I have like 50 shiny ones because I freaking go down to Area 0 to EV train, and then these things.
It's funny that Jumpluff is really like one of the most inspired flying types on this list so far. Yanma is a bug. It's a dragonfly. It flies. Boring. Murkrow is...
It would be bug dragon.
Yeah, that would be more interesting. Or at least Yanmega is dragon type. Murkrow, dark flying because it flies. Gligar, again, very interesting. It's
a little more interesting though. Gligar.
Gligar is cool. Ground flying type. It's like a scorpion. It digs.
At the same time, though,
can glide.
It and its evolution, like actually, what does Gliscor get? But it changes its type. But I feel like it should be poison. One of them should be poison.
You're thinking Gliscor has Toxic Heal, so it benefits from getting poison. But they're both ground flying.
Right. I think it would make more sense.
Ground flying is probably the better typing, but it's like it should have some poison. Maybe this guy shouldn't, but
it's also it's a bat, right? It's another bat gargoyle type Pokemon.
It is a weird Pokemon, but I love it.
I do too.
I love Gliscor. It's so cool.
They're monsters. You know, you can't tell what it really is. It's a scorpion. I think it's supposed to be, but it's also like Dracula.
Yeah. This is the type of flying that Hawlucha is. So its dex entry in silver version says it usually clings to cliffs. When it spots prey, it spreads its wings and glides down to attack.
For me, this shouldn't be flying because it's a glider. It's like, okay, we'll give flying to like the more flying types, and this could easily have been poison. But
poison, I think at the time was a really for me. I'm like, this is so played out. Every grass type had poison. All the water, I guess not all. I just feel like there was a lot of poison.
You know, I totally agree. Gen 1 has like the most poison types that ever exist. But it's not that I'm saying it would be a good typing. It probably would have been an overused typing. It just makes more sense, is all.
Yeah, there is a lot of referencing to its poison typing, so I get that. That makes sense.
They probably were like wrestling with the idea, even.
Probably, yeah. Delibird is a bird, therefore it is flying type.
But also Santa flies.
Santa Claus does fly.
It actually gets it from Santa because penguins don't fly.
Oh, that's so true. That's a good point. Yeah, but a penguin is a bird. They do and birds get flying type, right?
That's it, because it's the bird type.
They fly underwater.
Yeah,
true.
That's and Mantine. Mantine is
not
also
literal sense of the word.
Mantine's also a water flying type and glides under the water. Actually, no, Mantine actually glides above the water.
Mantine is because it was based on a kite.
Yeah,
that's why it's literally based on a kite. So it's supposed to be like a kite ray.
I think there's also rays that do jump out of the water, though.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Of course.
So that is primarily what it is.
I like that it has flying, actually.
It honestly is one of the Johto Pokemon that I was like never like, I don't know. This is a weird Pokemon that like 9 generations later you look back and you go, this was a Gen 2 Pokemon. This is so weird.
This was my pick for a Mega Evolution.
This is like Bruxish to me. I'm like, why does this exist? Who's excited to buy this? I guess.
Dude, I love Mantine. Get out of here.
No, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's.
Look at that shiny too. Look at that.
That's so cool.
Oof.
I like Mantike.
Yeah,
there's something about Mantine's face that doesn't do it.
The shiny on Mantine, the Remoraid shiny too. Did you see that?
Yeah,
I believe it.
Oh yeah, right here.
I did not know that. Go up the home model. Oh man,
it could just be a home error.
This Pokemon is
like that is so insane.
That is really cool.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
That wouldn't make sense though, because it's so rare to have 2 shinies together.
Yeah,
you know.
The implication too is that you would have just like only shiny Remoraid will attach to only shiny Mantine.
Yeah. It's
so Remoraid are racist. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So we got
we gotta get moving.
No, I know. I'm trying to think how in depth to go with this. Skarmory is a bird. Lugia is a bird. Lugia is
a bird.
No, I don't think Lugia is a bird. It kind of is a bird.
It is a bird, but it shouldn't be.
Primarily, it's the dragon that lives within the sea.
But they make it bird.
It controls whirlpools, right? Which is, I guess, water.
They wanted to like focus on it being a bird, which is just weird. It's like a dragon bird. I kind of love it, and it's just one of those. This Pokemon will forever be a Pokemon that just needs a different type.
Yeah.
Based on what it looks like, but
I'm trying to look at its dex entries right now. Yeah, storms. It controls storms, right? It is an incredible ability to calm raging storms. It said that Lugia appears when the storms start. So
it is kind of similar to a wyvern too, which can fly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But its whole thing is Aeroblast, you know? It's like it was a flying god basically when it came out.
A light fluttering of its wings can blow apart regular houses. As a result,
also was the trio master of the birds.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah.
Hey,
Everyone
man,
says
it was made for the movie. Yeah. It was made for the movie.
It was made for the movie. You're right.
And the movie depicted it as that.
Yeah.
So.
But it's never in the games that it's the trio master.
It actually kind of is. In Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, if you catch, the only way to get Lugia is you have to catch the Kanto birds. And then likewise, to get Ho-Oh, you have to catch the legendary beasts.
Listen, I want it to be canon just because it's awesome.
There's literally not one reference to its psychic powers in its dex entries.
That's because they didn't know what else to give it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might have honestly done that just because of the telepathy thing.
Yeah, I think at the time, like, Mewtwo was so popular and, like, Mewtwo is, like, the strongest legendary Pokemon that they were like, well, let's make Mewtwo with wings, right?
That's kind of what happened. I mean, we know from, like, interviews that the psychic type was, like, the special,
that's the strongest type.
Legendary type. And they also didn't want to give it dragon because dragon's broken, you know, like all this stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know why I didn't get water, but
it should be water. It should be dragon. But I say that, but I'm like, actually looking at this, I think it is the wind type. It's the storm Pokemon. I think the flying type fits it well if we're assuming that the flying type represents wind, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that makes total sense. I think the psychic is random, and I think water flying would be boring considering that Mantine exists, and then
that's
that
true, but
exists.
it would make more sense. So.
And dragon flying could also be cool. But
I will say this about the flying type: one thing that bothers me a lot is psychic flying, because even when Lumi asked me earlier about like what superpower would I want, I always usually go for telekinesis, because psychic types can make themselves fly. Yeah. Like Mewtwo flies because you can use your telekinesis to fly. So psychic and flying to me are just like the redundant type.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of Pokemon will get levitate, which is seen as a psychic typing, right?
Yeah. So that's another thing with Lugia.
I think though that's where you have to differentiate flying from being just they fly and go into they can like airbend basically.
Yes. Yeah. It's the storm. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a little abstract, but I do think the flying type covers it. I guess I just wish there weren't so many birds that just were flying type for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Because I think maybe that's what we're trying to discuss today, that like there is a bias, there is a stereotype of these flying types that they're just birds, which is fine, and they are, but there's so much more to the flying type. Like, it's true. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a great example of that, where it's this devastating ultimate force that should be respected up there with water and fire and the earth and electricity and everything.
But in Pokemon, it's not really.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we should roll the ad now.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this episode, please consider supporting Hidden Power on Patreon or YouTube channel members. Right now, we have 4 tiers, and the lowest membership starts at just $5 a month. Supporters get access to our secret Discord server and help control the direction of the podcast. Supporters also get access to our archive of bonus episodes.
Okay, so our Discord, honestly, is popping. We have other creators in there, too, which is kind of fun. It ain't just the 3 of us. We're discussing leaks when they drop. We talk about news. We'll be talking about how SoulSilverArt has, just garbage takes.
It's so much fun.
It's a place for us to connect.
I'm in there every day. Also, we have revamped our merch store. So proud of every product that is in this store now. We have stickers, t-shirts, mugs, ball caps, right? The dad caps. These ball caps are embroidered. Look at this. It's literally an embroidered.
So clean.
You cannot get anything more high quality than that.
I just got news. Do y'all hear that? Bulbasaur says that he even has his own merch.
I'll talk for him. It's beautiful. Very cool designs. You guys should
Very
check it out.
Japanese style.
Even the front of the shirt has a unique logo.
I'm getting one for sure.
If you're invested in this show, invest in the show. Thank you so much for watching, and now back to the video. So if Lugia should be a dragon, water, not psychic type Pokemon, I think we can all agree Ho-Oh is definitely a bird type. Is definitely a flying type Pokemon, right? Mm-hmm. Ho-Oh is the epitome of a flying type.
If you wanted to, you could make it, like, if we're changing Lugia, you could change Ho-Oh, make it Fire Ghost, because the whole Phoenix thing.
I mean, I think Fire Flying fits the Phoenix. I was going to say
absolutely.
That too.
Like,
it's just a good... It fits.
I mean, but it gives you the Sacred Ash, too, which, revives
That's
Pokemon.
true.
Like, since that's connected to Ho-Oh, and it revives other things from the dead. So it's got some necromancy.
It gets the regenerator ability.
True.
And the fact that it's called the Rainbow Pokemon, that's interesting. Why is it the Rainbow Pokemon?
It could have been Fire
because
Fairy.
It's got rainbows.
It could have been Fire Fairy.
It could have, yeah.
Just like that's true. It's something that could like grant life, right? It's very in tune with nature.
Oops, sorry. I think the only thing that ever bothered me with it was Moltres is the same.
Dude, 100%. Yeah, totally.
Sure.
It basically, yeah, totally. Like if
Ho is supposed to be special.
Yeah, and Fire Flying is not that special. Actually, it kind of is because Charizard is also that type. But here we go.
That makes it even less special.
It really does. So moving on to Hoenn right now, which I think is I'm honestly in my mind I'm having quite the I've got the nostalgia glasses on. Like I'm just loving Hoenn, and I gotta play it again. But Beautifly being bug flying, it feels like such a waste.
It's just Butterfree again.
It's just Butterfree again, right? And at this point,
they did.
Yeah,
but that's what they did in the
did that
older
for
generation.
a long time.
The first one, first couple, they're like, we're just gonna like repeat a little bit,
I mean, even later, I mean, you get Vivian in Gen 6.
Yeah,
true.
Flying butterfly.
Tailo and Swellow are birds. Very easy to understand why that is. You know what? Let me push back a little bit, or maybe try to understand.
Are you gonna push back on Swellow being a bird?
No. Beautiful. Yeah. I don't think Swellow is a bird. No. Beautifly.
You don't think Espather is, so.
Listen, I agree. We're gonna get to that at the end of the video, right? I'm not even kidding. Beautifly actually does have a lot of wind elements to it. It actually does a pretty good job. Just being something that can like control the wind. I feel like that was shown a lot in the anime. It learns moves like Gust. I think it learns Silver Wind, right, which is a bug type move. I'm not seeing anything.
I will also say that it has the counterpart that is not bug flying. So I think that makes up for it a lot.
Yeah. How Dustox is bug, but again, bug poison is just so boring. You
literally 3 gens in a row of a bug flying and a bug poison.
Yeah, it's
the Beedrill.
It's boring. It is the Beedrill, and it's boring. Wingull was cool as a new type of elemental bird. That was pretty cool. But it's just a bird.
The typing wasn't new though.
Wingull is a seagull.
So that's kind of sad.
That's true. Yeah, and Pelipper is a, what do you call it? What's its real life inspiration? Pelican. Yeah, Masquerain is another bug flying type.
Do you not have those up there, Dusty?
What?
Yes, he does.
Pelicans?
I mean,
you have pelicans.
I never see them. I've seen cranes more.
They're all over the place here.
So Masquerain is a bug flying type, which again I think is the stupidest thing because
eyeball Pokemon.
I know. I'm gonna. Yeah, apparently Masquerain is categorized as the eyeball Pokemon. But yeah, it changes from a bug water type, which at the time was really unique. Surskit is a bug water type, and it's adorable.
It could have just stayed bug water.
100%. It didn't need, and give it levitate.
And the best part is it will be 4 more generations, which means 12 plus years before we would finally get a bug water type that's usable.
Totally. And it's still a Pokemon that like obviously lives around the water. So I don't I don't know if they saw it as an upgrade or what, but bug flying is not a great
Pokemon
it's
because
type.
Its wings are an eyeball.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you not?
Like with lashes and everything, I never realized that the lashes.
Oh yeah, the lashes.
Are you serious right now?
You never noticed that?
Never noticed this. No.
Yeah, that's Masquerain's
You never knew that
thing.
those things were eyes.
It's a dewdrop.
No.
These are its wings. Yeah, that's its nose. I don't know if it's a nose.
You ever see the whole face?
That's not a nose though.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to look this up. No, it does kind of look like a nose though, like the shape of its whole head with the little antenna.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh wow, I kind of hate that.
It's kind of like a cat.
It kind of has a mustache.
Yeah.
The wings
like a cat.
Of Masquerain is I never thought of this as a nose, and this is the mustache. That's
like
crazy.
the whiskers, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Incineroar.
It kind of is. All right.
It's the bug type
It
Incineroar.
really is. However,
I'm blown away that Lumi didn't know.
Yeah.
This is the most insanest thing I've ever learned.
Bro, for years you didn't know that those were eye patterns?
Dude, let me tell you something. I've looked at Masquerain about twice in my life.
That's crazy. This is a hidden power historical moment.
clip
It
it.
is.
That is kind of insane. Honestly, the last time this happened was with Relicanth.
Revelation. Yeah, nothing beats that. That was like the most insane thing that's ever happened to me.
That might have been like a big revelation for you, but this is like the basics. So it's kind of crazier. It's kind of crazier.
It's crazy that you don't know that.
Relicanth is cooler.
Yeah, Relicanth is pretty sweet. I think so. And I'm noticing this is so. The idea of an interestingly typed Pokemon evolving into bug flying continues with this next bug type, Nincada, being bug ground type, evolving into the bug flying type Ninjask. Why is it flying type? I get why it's flying type because it can fly, but it very easily could be bug dark or literally bug anything else. Because
I'm more confused about like why they decided to, go ground and then flying and then ghost.
Yeah, it's to showcase
the whole thing.
It's definitely to showcase, and because I mean it kind of does this really well. I love Pokemon, where every member of a Pokemon line has a unique identity and feels like its own creature, and it doesn't feel like it just gets bigger. Each one of these is totally different, and each one of these is a stage of the, what is it called, the cicada's life. So you have the one that burrows in the ground type, the one that flies, flying type, and then the shell that is left over, the exoskeleton. Right?
I don't know if it's an exoskeleton.
It is. It's the shedding.
Yeah, I think it is.
Of its body.
Okay, well, we'll just get a little technical really quick. All of those bugs.
Skeletons.
Sure, yeah, whatever you want to call it.
All the bugs have exoskeletons.
It's the shedded skin.
Yeah, it's shed skin.
Yeah, you are right. Correct. We gotta.
Sorry, I just had to, or someone in the comments will do it to you. So
yeah. I think that's right.
Only bug ghost type Shedinja.
I know.
What a shame.
But it's just like, again, they're not doing themselves any favors with this Pokemon being flying type, right? It's like all they're saying now is, oh, you can fly, you get flying type. But like that's
I think they're quick to maybe give the flying type to speedy things, and that's kind of what Ninjask is known for.
That is true, actually.
It's not like they could give it electric.
Somehow that ties together better.
Does that make sense with some of these back here? I guess Crobat a little bit. Crobat's really fast. That might be just a coincidence, though. It really just meant.
But like Galarian, Zapdos, Dodrio.
They really thought, they were like, we have a bug water Pokemon, and we already have this bug flying Pokemon. Let's change it to bug flying for Masquerain.
And then they did it again with Ninjask.
So funny to me.
Just so we can have two.
It was the only bug water type for the longest time, and to this day, Nincada is still our only bug ground, and they just ruined them both by making them change that.
It's so stupid. No, it's not stupid. I love Swablu. Swablu and Altaria are bluebirds that sing. However, they have a really unique aspect to them, which is that their design isn't just a straight up bird. They have cloud wings, which is honestly adorable and really cute. And obviously Altaria then evolves into a dragon type. Like, it's just a bird, but it's not really. It's kind of cute. I always thought the body of Swablu also looks like an egg, which is also another layer of a bird. Dude, the flying type is literally just a bird type. Until you get to Tropius. This is kind of fun going. Like, I'm just going the ups and downs.
I love that you said that, and then we got to Tropius.
Yeah, Tropius is the... What do you guys think about Tropius?
I think
Tropius can fly.
I think Tropius getting the flying type is kind of awesome because it's something that you would never expect to have it. It shouldn't have it.
This is Pokemon.
Yeah.
This is as weird as Mantine, right? You have these things that jump out of the water, so they're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Give it the flying type. If you've ever seen a banana tree, the leaves are massive, and that is actually what they've translated into this like dinosaur thing. I am a little disappointed it's not a dragon type. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's just it's just a better type. Yeah, seriously, grass, dragon type. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. It's a fruit Pokemon. Such a cool Pokemon. I feel like wind is also something that's in on this. I'm just looking at the dex entries right now. I'm not seeing anything. It really is weird that it can actually fly, though.
I know.
Yeah, I know. For the longest time, it was stuck in that stupid
the T-pose
animation,
Yeah.
True.
So we've got Salamence as well, which is another dragon and flying type. And I think the flying typing is a lot more significant to this Pokemon and to this line than just it can now fly. The whole story of Bagon is that it wants to fly so bad, so it jumps off cliffs, hardening its body, eventually being completely calloused and evolving into Shelgon in this kind of like pupa stage, and then finally achieving flight, learning an HM, which is weird as a signature move, learning the move Fly, and gaining the flying type. Salamence is cool. It's a great Pokemon. But in terms of like, I mean, it's not a bird. It's literally just, it can fly now. It's very one-to-one. I hope this doesn't come off too boring, because some of these are really, really just cut and dry.
Yeah, that's the thing when you talk about a flying type, though. It's like,
yeah,
just because it flies.
But
we can pass through them quickly.
I think that's a good time to move to Rayquaza, because like I think at first glance you would say, oh well, it flies, but actually with it's because of its weather controlling. You know, like its signature ability is Airlock, which like removes the effects of weather, and then Delta Stream, its Mega's ability, does that, but also creates a like new weather pretty much called Strong Winds, and it boosts the power of flying types.
What a great Pokemon. Yeah, that's really powerful, and I think you're absolutely right. This is in line with Storm. It's like more of like the sky and abstract, right?
Does it fly, or does it really just like levitate? Like it's kind of like
I think
what we discussed
levitates
earlier.
There's
like
no wings.
does it?
The
Yeah,
wind.
it's not actually making it fly. It's more like using the wind to lift it.
Yeah,
You know?
and it moves. It's a serpent. It's a sky serpent. It kind of barrels through the sky, kind of like a Chinese dragon, right? Which is propelled
Pokemon.
by wind,
Magic.
right?
Such a cool Pokemon. We don't talk about enough how cool this Pokemon is.
Yeah, it's so cool. Very great Pokemon. And then we get to Starly, which is just a normal bird.
It's a bird.
More birds.
More birds. Staraptor, Staravia. Mothim is just
Another bird.
Again.
Another bug flying.
Mothim. Just
Another
bug
bug
flying type. And here's the thing. Mothim actually has a really cool... We had talked about this actually for maybe its mega form in another video. Burmy has 3 different forms that all correspond, and its type changes. Does its type change?
I think Wormadam's.
Wormadam's does.
You're-
Based on the form that it is, the Wormadam will be bug steel, bug grass, or bug either rock or ground.
Exactly.
It's rock.
So that's so interesting.
Deal.
Why would you make the counterpart to that so boring? Why not give this literally anything? If you want to be stereotypical, maybe make it like a fighting type. I don't know what other type you would want to give it. Give it ghost, give it psychic, literally anything that makes it interesting. But bug flying is just so boring to me.
Especially when you get another one, right?
Yeah, Kauri and which I mean,
It's
honestly,
the same as Gen 3.
Yeah,
Like,
and Vespiquen
let's do
is
more bug flying.
and I like Vespiquen, right? Vespiquen should be a psychic type, right? As if it has like mind control over the other worker
It
bees.
seems like when they're not flying, you just want them to have the psychic type.
No, I literally don't care. I just think anything could be more interesting. In Mothim's
Because psychic
defense,
types should be able to fly.
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm
Give
saying
it bug rock because of that gem.
yeah, that could make sense. I was thinking psychic because of the pheromones and the mind control of the comb bee, as you know, those are the worker bees. Mothim, just give it anything other than flying, right?
Yeah.
Dragon.
Yeah, give it dragon.
Yes.
Give it dragon. Drifloon.
Don't change the design. Just make Mothim bug dragon.
kinda
No
looks-
explanation.
It kind of does have this little dragon snout
Stop.
right here. Here we go. I'm got a little out of place here, but we got Drifloon
Drifloon is
and
kind of
Drifblim.
redundant as well. I get what they're going for because it's a balloon. But
I like this. This
Ghost
is like
can
Hot
fly
Dog.
too.
Sure.
Ghost
No,
can
but this
fly
is-
too.
True.
I think this
It's
is nice.
themed. It's flying.
Well, we didn't have a ghost flying yet, so they had to do it.
I think this is nice. I think
it's a hot air balloon, you know.
Yeah.
Kinda
so,
smart.
but then you could have given it a fire type.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
no,
does
I think
get
it's fine.
like a little bit of a reference to that with flare boost.
It does, yeah. I think it makes sense. It's literally it's like a balloon that's lost in the wind. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the helium type.
Followed by 2 birds.
Yep, 2 birds.
Birds.
Honchkrow, Chatot. Again, Chatot
Chatot.
could be a sound type.
Yeah, it shouldn't. I mean, there is no sound type, so they couldn't do
No.
anything. But it's just like
Yeah.
it could have
Dude,
so much
can
more.
we can't talk about Honchkrow without me shouting out Honchkrow's feigning animation in Battle Revolution.
Oh, so good.
It falls over to
Goodbye. We got Mantike, Togekiss, Yanmega, Gliscor, all flying type, but we discussed those already with their previous evolutions. Now we've
and
got
Togekiss more so leans into the bird thing than Togekiss.
Yeah,
did.
Togekiss
Yeah, I
is
can
a
see
bird,
that.
basically.
yeah. It's still an angel
And
though. I think.
Yanmega should be dragon.
I think it's also like got some dove inspiration in it though.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of doves, we got Pidove, Tranquil, and Unpheasant.
Those ain't
So
doves,
boring.
bro.
Just the most
Those are
boring.
pigeons.
The most boring. Well, it's Pidove.
I
Yeah,
think
because
Dove is part dove.
Doves,
I mean, they're just
doves
very
are kind of
similar
pigeons,
looking.
you know.
Yeah,
Doves
they
are like
look
pretty.
They're
nearly
city
identical.
pigeons or city
Yeah.
doves. I think these
Yeah.
are just so boring. You could have given them a ground type. You could have given them the steel type because of the industrialization. You could have given them poison.
Yeah.
Because a lot of birds, a lot of pigeons will have like this.
Poison would have been fun.
I actually don't know if it's captured or like so. A lot of pigeons will have this like translucent or this colorful sheen on them, and I don't know if that's natural oil or if that's oil that they've picked up from living and
Oh yeah, I know what you
inhabiting
mean.
a city. So that would be interesting, right? They could have done so
Berry
much to
would be
this.
kind of nice because it's got the heart on its chest, and
Yeah.
then like the difference between the genders, like you clearly could do like a love theme, I guess.
No, I think I agree with that. Yeah, that would be cool. And then with their split evolutions, one is one. I don't know. I'm just thinking like maybe they have a gender difference. So maybe there's
that
a
would have
play
been
on
cool
love.
if the different genders had like one is fighting flying and
Yeah.
one is fairy flying. Dude,
I mean, this
such a
video
missed
is
opportunity.
this video is not about how boring Pidove is, but I think the flying. Listen, the flying type makes sense. It does make sense.
Yeah, the flying. It's a
I
bird.
don't think the flying type should change.
It's a bird.
It's just a bird.
Speaking of things with hearts on them,
Yeah, look at this. It's flowing.
I don't know.
Right.
What, I
We
mean,
got
I
Woobat
get
and Swoobat.
it's psychic, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, I'm not crazy about the design in general, but their bats.
No, I don't mean the design. I just mean the typing. Like, I guess it makes sense.
it does because while it has psychic powers, it is not using those psychic powers to fly.
No, it's for
It happens to have wings, so it's flying.
It's like a sound replacement.
It is. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's like what? I don't know.
Man, just the repeated types are crazy. We have another psychic flying with Sigilif. And the flying
Just
type
the-
here is interesting. It could just be pure psychic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what. I mean, we could take a look. I don't really know what is like flying about it, other than it just is a
It
levitating.
has wings. I mean, it's clearly got some like
Oh, yeah, it's
ancient bird vibes to it.
It's called the Avenoid Pokemon. Okay, so
Yeah, it's
I
a
guess
big bird,
it
like-
is very clearly inspired by some sort of like ancient
Well,
mythological. bird.
the like glyphs are
Yeah.
of a bird. Like the real pattern thing in real life looks like that. Almost just.
It
like
also seems to resemble a wind chime.
It does, yeah, totally. Honestly, I like that a lot. Then that fits with the flying type.
Why does Chimecho not have the flying?
I was gonna bring that up at the end of the episode. I was thinking about that earlier. Arkin and Archeops, we talked about it earlier. They're rock
The
flying,
first bird.
just like Aerodactyl, but they, flying type makes
those are
sense.
fossils.
Yeah, the rock type's probably could be replaced with something. We got Ducklet
Flying
and
makes
Swanna
We got
are
more
birds.
Birds.
Emolga is a flying rodent. This is kind of
It's
interesting.
actually not though. It's a gliding rodent,
Yeah.
It's a flying
I love
squirrel,
Emolga.
which is a gliding squirrel.
which is a gliding squirrel.
But this is cool. Like again, if it's gonna, this is like Gligar, right? It's like if it's gonna fly, if like that, this is interesting, right? It's not what you would normally expect. Rufflet and Braviary are birds. Vullaby and Mandibuzz are birds. Here we go. Thundurus and Landorus are again spirits, creatures that inhabit or control their type of storm, right?
I really think it has to do with the weather. Yeah.
The weather.
That's all it is, really, and that they are like basically made out of a cloud.
Yeah.
It's like they're the bottom half.
And we talked about it on the fairy episode, but they also could potentially, instead of having the flying type, have the fairy type as a way of, because they so closely control their, I guess, the environment or their, the crops that they influence, right? Landorus is not really about a sandstorm, but more of about like a drought. But I think the flying type is nice for them. I think the flying type is nice.
Yeah.
And then we got more birds with Fletchling, Fletchinder, Talonflame, all birds, just the bird type. Vivillon is another bird. No, not a bird. Bug, flying type Pokemon. Hawlucha is a little bit interesting. Again, it glides. This is more abstract. It learns the move Acrobat. Though. It is actually, it is a bird.
Hawk.
It is a bird. It's totally a bird. It's also man, but it.
But it's also.
He said the thing.
Yeah, I said the thing. It gets this because of the typing. They needed a cool typing.
Yeah, I think it is cool typing, and it got a really cool ability or a move that does two different types of ability. It does damage.
It's a dual type move.
Yeah, that
for me, it just didn't need to be flying. Like it could have just been fighting.
I think
based on the design.
I mean, I can see that, but I think the flying makes it way more interesting.
And again, it's a bird.
That's
true. It's a bird. Yeah,
that's why I got it.
So you think Yveltal is a bird? I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it's
that.
Clearly got some buzzard inspirations in it.
Okay, like death.
But with it being connected to death, and also that what would you call that? I guess like a mane almost, on it.
Yeah,
the gray.
I honestly, it bothers me so much that that Xerneas is as a one type of fairy type.
Yeah.
And this thing is dark and flying. It doesn't matter, but that bothers me. I'm like,
well,
should it have a new type? Should should Xerneas
they
get a new type?
should have made it fairy grass because then they balance each other out because Xerneas' fairy would beat Yveltal's dark and Yveltal's flying would beat Xerneas' grass.
I kind of love that so much.
And then also Xerneas literally turns into a tree. So
yeah. I honestly love that. That is what I would retype it to be. Rowlet and Dartrix are both grass flying type because they are owls, which are birds. It is kind of cool that it loses the flying type because it is no longer... I mean, I guess it is still a bird, but it now has ghostly attributes. It gets the ghost type. But it's still a bird. Pikipek,
it's a dead bird.
Yeah, it's a dead bird. Toucanon, all birds, all flying type. I would argue they should get a new typing. You give it the fire type.
Yes.
Give them grass
Make it
normal.
something that's a little bit more interesting. Oricorio is a bird. All of them are birds, so they get the bird type. They get the flying type. Meteor. This is what I live for. A Pokemon that is flying type that is not a bird. Meteor is so cool. It flies through the sky, right? It's this little chibi little creature, this little asteroid thing. I love it so much.
That's a good flying type.
It's a good flying type. Yeah.
I like it.
But can you guys explain to me Celesteela? Because I don't understand it at all. Celesteela is steel flying type.
It's a rocket.
Oh, it's a rocket.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. So okay, again, it's like Meteor. It's flying through the sky.
It's
a rocket. I never thought of it as a rocket, but you're right. It is a rocket.
Yeah, it is. It'll like the bottom. It'll shoot out like fire and fly.
Wow. I gotta look at this. That's honestly so cool.
See, it's the launch Pokemon as well.
I'm actually thinking about Pokemon Legends ZA when I see this thing because it looks like the.
It does. The launch Pokemon. ZA. Think about it.
No, I don't think it's gonna be, but it just makes me think about it.
Enamorus is just another one of the genies, one of the weather genies. Squawkabilly is a normal flying type because Gen 9 had to be redundant with some typing.
Because it's a boring bird.
It's just a bird.
Normal for boring, and then flying for bird.
Watchroll is a bird.
Normal for boring.
Kilowattrel is a bird.
Normal for its boring side.
Yeah. Flying for it's a bird side.
Yep.
And then we got Iron Jugulis.
Who I love.
Which I interpret this Pokemon. This is one of the paradox Pokemon for Hydreigon. I see this as like if we had to justify its type or like explain it, the flying type is that it's kind of like a drone, right? It's just kind of this mechanical drone that can, and these things kind of float off of it.
Hydreigon is just dark, or is it dark and flying?
Dark dragon.
Dark dragon. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Duh.
And then the dark type is just a leftover, I think, from Hydreigon.
It's weird that they took the dragon away for that.
It is.
It makes sense.
Dark flying
dragon
makes
flying
sense.
is not as fun as dark flying, I guess.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it's not a dragon anymore and it's just like a robot.
Yeah.
But like they could have gave it something better than flying.
Also, too, other than the
That's
main
the whole
legends,
theme of this episode.
other than the main
Flying.
legends and the paradox beasts, are there any dragon paradoxes?
Just Roaring Moon? No.
Oh, Roaring Moon, you're right. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is
Roaring
it
Moon's
Dark
Dragon Dark.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just trying to like find some more art for this
It
thing.
took Salamance's flying, and Salamence took its dark, and
Yep.
now Salamence is its type, and it
Okay.
is.
Is that the end of the
type.
list?
That's
Oh,
literally the end. And then we got a bunch of megas, which we went over
which
some
we
of these megas.
kind of went through.
Mega
yeah.
Salamence, Mega Rayquaza. It's just more of the same. I think Fan Rotom.
Shaman.
Fan Rotom is literally wind. It's a
That is
fan
very
that creates
that's very
wind.
wind type.
I
kind of
hate it though because you want to talk about a relevant soul.
Yeah.
It's electric flying and it has levitate as an ability.
So stupid.
thing. Oh, that's dumb.
It's just a waste.
Yeah.
It's because Rotom has it and they didn't want to change it based
Yeah.
on the form. But like, ugh,
Yeah, that's a little lame, but it honestly is. It is.
could get wind power now.
It's a good Pokemon. Yeah, Shaman Skyform. It literally gets it's what is it? A bird? Are we saying Shaman is a
no,
bird now?
Shaman Sky
Shaman
is
is
cool.
definitely a bird.
It's cool
No, it's a
because it's
reindeer.
random. No, yeah, it just floats
And
in
reindeer
the sky.
fly.
I think it's because it like lives in the sky. It's sky form. Like
Sure.
that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's literally called Skyform. Skyform. It just it's kind of more like Rayquaza, where it lives up there.
Yeah, or like
It's
run
like
on
the
air.
atmosphere Pokemon. You know, it
Like a reindeer.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
We don't see
It
a lot of
flies
this,
to Santa's reindeer.
but I guess there's like I would say some flying Pokemon like Rayquaza, like Minior, maybe Celesteela. Oh, definitely Celesteela as an Ultra Beast, and maybe Shaman Skyform. If we're talking about like these tiers, these definitions of the flying type, we have bird, we have wind, but then also it's like then we almost have like upper atmosphere Pokemon, right? Which to me, maybe there's some connection there. Maybe there's a theory cooking that connects it to almost like not aliens, but like literally you go a little bit further and all of a sudden you're outside of the atmosphere, right? Like you have to be a specific type of creature to be able to breathe and exist that high up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's like its own power in itself, right?
Am I dumb? I didn't know that Enamorus was flying type.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the other genies. Fairy flying.
I had no idea. I mean, it makes so much sense, but
There we
I
go.
just-
There's your masquerade moment.
yeah, maybe. I just didn't
Yeah.
think
It's
about
based on
it.
a snake and a turtle.
Yeah. I just saw it on there
And-
and I was like, is that supposed to be there?
Yeah.
It's also based on a god.
Really?
Ooh.
So we
All
okay.
the whole Kami trio is, or quartet rather.
Yeah. And then we
Is that the
I
end of
think
that?
that's it. And then Type Null and Arceus, the different Squawkabilly. But I think
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
but what I want to take a look at now before we wrap up, if I can find it, is there is an egg, so we have these egg groups, right? And this is actually really I love looking at these egg groups. These are like coded in egg groups for Pokemon to kind of classify which ones can breed and make eggs with which other Pokemon. There's a bunch of categories here that are not actual types, but there's a bunch that are actual types. And I think it's so interesting to look at this list, right? We have things like, so we have types like water and bug and flying, grass, dragon, right? That's interesting. But then there's like mineral, monster, human-like. Imagine if there was a human type.
Are these official terms though?
These are
Yeah,
official.
these are the official egg groups. Yeah.
There was a fairy type egg group, and then it became the actual fairy type. So like what? Like literally, we got when we do a normal episode, it's the monster episode. It's the monster.
Lord.
It's the monster type.
Can you imagine our normal episode is just gonna be like
It's boring. It's
boring.
It's boring.
It's
It's,
boring.
it's just a
boring.
cat.
I guess
Thing.
maybe the approach we should take to that one is replacing. What would we replace the normal type with?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's just like,
This is ridiculous.
man, normal type.
But if we go through this, almost everything in the flying type egg group is a flying type. There's a couple exceptions like Decidueye, its different forms.
But it evolves from a flying.
And then we got Flittle and Espathra, which is...
Oh, that's why
because
we're
they're
here.
birds.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a flying type. It's not a bird. It's flying.
Yeah, because they're birds.
Yeah.
It's
I
in the
think-
flying egg
honestly,
group 'cause it's a bird.
I think this disproves my theory right here. The fact
Kind
that
of.
it's in the
Kind
bird
of
egg
does.
group.
Dear God, it took 2 years.
Jesus. Yep. Okay, guys. I wish I was wearing my Espathras on a bird shirt because I would throw it out right now. We got Galarian Farfetch'd. It's just a fighting type. So pretty much anything that's a bird, honestly. I guess that confirms that Togetic is a bird. That's kind of gross.
Well,
And well, I guess okay. What is also included here are some other things like Archin, which is kind of like a bird, but
You're the one
Swoobat.
who pointed out in the fairy episode that Togetic's a bird.
It is,
Togepi's
but
got
it's
the whole hatch 'em from an egg thing.
yeah, but it also doesn't look like a bird. No, I think the real weird thing is here. The weird thing here is that the bats, which are mammals, are also in this list. Zubat's in this list. Woobat, Noibat.
Specifically the bird egg group.
This is specifically
we're
the
looking
bird
at?
egg group. Here we go.
Dang, that's weird.
We got Quaxley. Quaxwell, and Quackquaval are all in the bird group, or the flying type egg group.
So
which-
your birds can get it on with a Noivern and
Oh, yeah.
make
Which is-
bird baby eggs.
In a world where Skitty and Wailord can reproduce, I'm not worried about
Yeah.
Satu and
Dude,
Swoobat
Sigilif.
reproducing.
Sigilif is
That's
here,
so
too.
weird though.
We also have a bunch of Pokemon here. I think what I'd like to do is go through the full decks and just kind of pick out any Pokemon that could potentially have the flying type based on what we discussed. Because I think there actually are some real sleeper hits, and they're not just things with wings.
Do a good scroll right here.
Yeah.
A little
Beedrill.
scroll.
Beedrill obviously flies. I don't know if I'd give it the flying type,
No,
but Bug
we'd be
Poison's also
complaining.
just as...
We'd
yeah,
be complaining.
But
We
it
would.
like
could
another bug
hypothetically.
flying.
100% we would
Pikachu and a Alolan Raichu.
be.
No. Lumi's never serious about this.
I know. I don't know why. This is the fun part.
About
Clefable
this-
has wings.
Clefable does have
Clefable
wings.
do have wings.
Yeah. I like that. They have wings.
Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff are balloons.
And if they're from the moon, right, that's obviously not the Earth's atmosphere, but that is in pretty close proximity.
higher than I am, you know.
Kind of
it's
like
up there.
Meteor, right? Like, how does it travel? Maybe it flies. I don't know. I feel like I've seen Clefairy fly.
Yeah,
I'm, like, not even
Jigglypuff and
kidding.
It
Wigglytuff,
does
too.
somewhere. Cleffa, I think, floats.
Yeah.
I think.
I think it does. They float. Honestly, Jigglypuff, I think I already skipped by it.
Yeah,
Jigglypuff
and-
would, yeah, I think that could be definitely a flying type. Flying Fairy would be way more
better than
interesting.
normal, you know?
Better than normal, 100%. Yeah. Venomoth has
Venomoth
wings, but it should not be flying. It just, I don't
Golduck is a bird.
I don't know if it should be poison, but
That's ridiculous. I actually, when I was younger, I always thought it was weird that Psyduck wasn't.
that's a good point.
Like, he's like a humanoid
Rude.
duck.
Dude, that's so true. No, I think Psyduck is based on a kappa and a platypus.
Yeah.
So they're
He's
not
a
really
monster.
birds, but truthfully, I never thought of it. It really could be a flying type.
It's
They're
not
so-
based on a platypus. I don't know who you heard that from.
Yeah,
but
I don't
no,
think it's based on a
duck.
platypus. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It
looks like a
but it's like,
platypus.
it's kind of more
In the sense
reptilian.
that it doesn't.
Is it not reptilian to you guys? To me, it's like
Golduck?
an
Well, that's
actual
the
reptile.
Kappa vibes
Yeah.
there.
But even Psyduck, it's like a monster body of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Arcanine, because its Japanese name is Windy.
Dude, that's honestly
Also,
that's
doesn't
kinda
it
cool.
doesn't it like run in the air? Arcanine.
It doesn't, but it has the little Hermes feet.
It really is called Windy.
Hisuian specifically has the Hermes feet
I love that.
on its front paw. I love that
Wow,
too. That's so
dude.
cool.
That's
should fly.
I never noticed that.
I would love for that to fly. That's a good one.
I mean, yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know
care
if it
which
should
one.
have the flying type, but yeah, maybe some access to like flying.
Yeah,
type.
yeah,
yeah. Flying type. We just disregard what
Machop.
Lumi
What'd you say?
For sure.
Dude, you're making
disregard
jokes.
Lumi's random ones.
How am I gonna make this? How am I gonna make it?
Like,
How am I gonna make this its own clip if we're just making jokes?
Rapidash should have an evolution that is.
Yes.
I can see that.
And
Yeah.
is a Pegasus
yeah, 100%. Galarian Rapidash was such a disappointment. Not because it's like a bad Pokemon, but because we all wanted it to fly and turn into Pegasus.
They were looking up in the live stream.
Dude, I waited.
They were
24
looking.
hours
Ponyta
for
were
that.
looking up.
Dude, oh,
Yeah,
so
that's
bad.
true.
So bad.
Galarian, Farfetch'd, and Surfetch'd.
Sure. Honestly, yeah. Honestly, because again, fighting, flying would be cool, but they don't fly, but they are birds. There's so many birds that don't fly.
Actually, Galarian Farfetch does fly.
It does?
Yeah,
Give
the way
it the
it is
flying type.
when it's holding the leak, it can't. But in the anime, there was like a scene where it lost its leak, like it fell in a hole, and
Yeah.
Ash jumped down to get it, and his Farfetch'd, which was Galarian, like flew down. And it was sitting there flying while he was grabbing the leak.
It's a bird after all. So.
It is. I think it should almost have like
It even gets Brave Bird.
You could make like if Farfetch debuted in Gen 10, it would have such a specific gimmick with its leak. I think it'd be so cool if it had like a couple different forms, like battle forms, like what is it called?
Aegislash.
Yeah, like Aegislash or whatever. I'm thinking of basically like Aegislash, where basically it has like a leak form where it gets the grass type and then it puts it down and now it's just like maybe it's fighting flying or something.
I think that's why they didn't give it the flying. Was the idea was it can't fly because of the weight of its leak.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
True.
But then it is also fighting type, so it's like, why isn't it strong enough to like just?
You know what?
Right.
But,
Well,
but
my thing
in Gen
is
3,
too,
there's a held item.
If the leak is taking away the flying type, then it should be adding the grass type.
Yeah. Yeah, so in Gen 3
weapons are made of grass.
in Gen 3 there's the item leak, or it's like called like big leak or whatever.
That's not just in Gen 3. That's kind of how you evolve Farfetch.
Is it really?
You have to get 3 critical hit.
So what I'm thinking is
that was
like
annoying.
is like the legendary Pokemon
After you have elite.
Like with the legendary Pokemon, when you equip a specific health like item or whatever, it transforms in the menu. That's how Farfetch should work. Farfetch should be like when you equip the big leak, it like transforms and now it's holding it and it gets the grass type. But you like de-equip it and it becomes just like the duck form.
It actually, fun fact, was called in the earlier gens. It was called the Big Stick, and only in Sword and Shield did they change it to Leak.
Yes, dude, the Big Stick. That's 100% what it was. I love that. Gengar, Haunter, Ghastly. They do not need to be flying type. They can just be wispy ghosts. But I had to I just had
like
to
what
say
Soul said. They do fly already. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In another world, I could see Executor being so high up. I could see it being grass flying just because of how tall it is. Like
higher up than the Alolan?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the Alolan one. Yeah. Instead of Dragon, but no, Dragon's great. Coughing, again, does not need to be flying type.
It gets levitate.
But I thought it was weird that it floats, but I guess it's just a puffball. Like I imagine there's like energy inside of it or pressurized gas, which is a type of wind.
It definitely has some gas going on.
Wind is a gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if we're thinking about wind, let's think about wind. Let's see. All right, we got Seaking.
Seaking learns Peck.
It does, honestly, yeah.
That was always so weird.
But it makes sense. Like at least those moves were distributed properly.
Yeah.
Here, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Do you think
Porygon's a bird?
Honestly,
True.
I have seen people say that, like Porygon, like true Porygon.
It shouldn't be flying
3,
though. It has no reason to be flying.
But like true Porygon.
I am
3
always
could be
shocked it
flying
isn't
type.
like electric. You know,
Yeah.
like it's normal instead of electric when it's like all digital.
Do you guys think we'll ever get a flying type Eevee?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think that would look like?
It's tough to say, like because
What
a
do you
lot of people
imagine?
do them. Oh, I love the Hawk one. That one's cool.
That is
I
cool.
honestly imagine it would not be something that we expect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
This
Most
has always
people
been one
do
of my
like
favorites.
the light. Yeah, most people do like the light blue white, and
Yeah.
I that's kind of what I'd want to see. But
This one's
I don't
cool
think
because
that
it
they would
also
do it.
incorporates like the cloud, which I like a lot. It's tough though with a lot of evolutions. They get over designed. A lot of like ones that people want, they get a little bit over designed. But you got to keep them real simple.
I mean, I like the ones that are like Vaporeon. But
Yeah.
they're like flying.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
they have huge wings. I saw one really good one once, and I can't remember exactly. I'm sure it's on my Twitter somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, there's a lot of
think,
good ones.
Yeah, I think Lumi, what would be like the best typing for a flying type evolution?
Probably flying.
I'm sorry,
I
the
knew
best.
he was gonna
I'm sorry,
say
the
it,
best
bro.
stat. Lumi's in a
gonna
funny
say
mood
it,
today.
Into
bro.
it.
He
The best
like
typing.
set you up. I was like,
I didn't. When he said what would be the best typing, I was like, oh, please say for a flying evolution. I was hoping for. No, I mean, I would probably
for like its stat distribution. What would you say?
Maybe similar to Jolteon would be kind of fun. I think make it
really like
quick and hit hard.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
If they wanted to, they could. Jolteon special. They could make it a physical attacker. And
that would make sense.
Spam Brave Bird.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Still the same build as Jolteon in the sense that if you poke it, it dies.
This is one of my favorites right here.
I like that one, except the face is like too much like Sylveon.
Yeah, I think the wings are the wing ears are also way too big. Although that maybe that makes
like that.
I do too, because that's the whole point. It's flying type. It's very.
I think honestly that thing
body.
below it is the closest that they would do. I think
this one.
Yeah.
Not that I'd want that, but I think that is the closest thing to what they would do.
We could do a whole episode on like
evolutions. We
should.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Dratini, Dragonair, they could have always been flying type. They could also all be water type. Yeah, Dragonair's. It could be the flying type.
Dragonair flies in the anime all the time.
All the time, and they levitate.
It should fly.
Totally.
Its wings grow bigger too.
It's true. It has wings on its head.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I think.
Sentret?
Yeah. Let's see.
No.
No, Sentret. No.
That was a answer.
I'm trying to think of. Wind. Wind is what I'm thinking about. Again, I stand by it.
Actually am not. I'm thinking of flying.
I'm thinking of wind.
If they fly.
Sentret flies.
We've got
maybe fly.
Politoed. I feel like the idea of a rain dance Pokemon, like rain dance was one of its signature moves.
I don't know about that one.
At least in the anime, that's how they always depicted Politoed. I'm pretty sure it would use rain dance.
Yeah, but that's why it's water.
On that? Or learns drizzle.
Yeah,
it's water.
Yeah, but it controls storms,
rain dance,
right?
But...
Or think of like that. What's that frog in Wind Waker?
Frog.
Frog. Wind.
His name is Frog Waker.
This guy right here.
He's just
Cyclos.
He's a genie.
And
Zephos. And they basically they create these awful storms to get in your way. And I always thought of
those are literally that's what the genies are based off of.
Yeah.
In Pokemon. They're the same thing. They're Raijin and
Tornadus is literally
look at that
Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's what those two frogs are. They're the two brothers that are based on the Kami.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Raijin and Fujin, I think.
Honestly, I don't even want to give flying type to anything. It's just
because you don't want to. You don't want. There's so many. It's
and the thing is, they gave it out so much that the things that don't have it you don't want to have it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
But is it a good type, Lumi? Like, has it historically been a good type?
I don't know so much that it is a good type as much as I do that it is connected to some really good mons.
Okay. Like legendaries or pseudo-legendaries.
But, I mean, that said, there's always a cycle to these things. But, like, for example, right now in VGC, and I say right now, ever since it's been introduced in VGC, Urshifu has been a pretty tough mon, and especially in Scarlet and Violet because it can go through Protect. And, so, that makes flying types a little more tempting, right? Because, that beats Urshifu. And, like, right now, the genies are really popular in VGC. Tornadus, I won't say too much. Well, actually, when this comes up, I'll have already done it. I'm bringing a Tornadus to Orlando. So
nice. That's sick. That's cool. How fitting. How about this, guys? Yeah. Raikou, Entei, Suicune. I feel like Raikou,
at least Suicune,
and Suicune could potentially get the flying type.
Because
again of storms, right?
Yeah, well, and she also brings in a wind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, totally. And that's what I'm saying, dude. It's got to be the wind type. Suicune's got to get it.
Want to be technical?
Not
Tyranitar, Sandstream.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't see it, but
Here we go. This is by Adept Sharon. Here we go. Cast form. How did we miss cast form?
we didn't
haven't
get
gotten
there
to it
yet.
Oh, we haven't got there yet. Okay,
We're
okay.
not there yet.
Well, this is all right. Cast form is the first one. Second one is what I was gonna say. We've got Shiftry right here. I think Shiftry is a great example of a wind type Pokemon. It's literally based on this Oni that creates these like gusts of wind. Right.
It also gets Whim Rider as an ability.
It does. Yeah, exactly. So I think that'd be a great opportunity. Also, if we're gonna like deviate flying type from the wind type, I mean this. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like it justifies more of the flying types. But Chimecho is a great example of this. I think Chimecho.
Yeah, that one should
that
get
whole
it.
line.
At least Chimecho. Maybe not.
Drampa does fly, so Drampa wouldn't be
totally,
that one
dude.
either.
And the normal dragon type on Drampa is good. It's interesting. It's like kind of unique.
It's unique, yeah.
But just I'm like, no. I guess honestly, yeah. I'd rather have normal type. I'd rather have it normal type.
Oh no,
I'm not.
I'd definitely rather have it normal.
Yeah, I don't really think Mesprit or Uxie.
I think we must be missing something because he doesn't have Uxie or Azelf on there, just Mesprit, right?
Yeah, there must be something there.
Yeah. So there's must be a reason we're missing.
What do you guys think about?
He put Suicune, see?
Yeah, he put Suicune.
Cool.
Some of these I don't know if I don't know. There's
Spritzy because it's a bird.
Yeah, dude, that's so true. Why is it not fairy flying type?
Yeah,
it is a
I don't
bird.
know about the Can Dancer, but the Spritzy for sure.
Yeah. Well, but there's an aroma aspect to it, which is scent, which I guess is the fairy type aspect.
But that travels by what? Air.
That's true. We've got what's this little guy called?
Comfey. But
Comfey.
I guess it floats in the wind a lot, but it's kind of the same thing as Jumpluff. If you do that.
It's like the fairy type allows it
to
float.
Yeah, it could be.
The Vanillish line makes sense if you're thinking about like blizzards. Again, with heavy winds, heavy storms. That does kind of make sense to me. This is interesting, and I'm pretty sure I think Sneasel and Weavile are based on a yokai, either a yokai or an oni that are. What is it? It's a yokai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that basically like it's this like ferret that like cuts you up. It's just like
because like you get a sharp kind of pain when like there's a blizzard, and they say that's this yokai.
Yeah,
cutting you with a scythe.
Yeah, that's true. All that's true, but it's actually sandstorm. Like when I don't know if you've been to the beach and the wind picks up and you just get hit by like all kinds of little things of sand. That's what that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is based off of. Yeah.
You think they would make it a ground type in that case?
I thought it was. I thought it was for snowstorms because of the.
I'm pretty sure it's sand.
Yeah, from what I can see on here, it's cold weather.
Okay. So the ice type.
I knew the
there.
ice type was from it.
But the wind type is also super cool there. Cause, like if wind was.
Are you looking at Bulbapedia?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. So I think there's a lot of things here, and this isn't really what we're talking about. We're talking about the flying type. A lot of things here. If there was a wind type, it's really fast creatures, speedy, priority-driven Pokemon. So you see a lot of those here. But I do think Eldegoss in that line, that is just like Jumpluff. That could be a grass flying type.
But now that you mention
pure grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even in Sword and Shield, Eldegoss is just like floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is
as well as in new Pokemon Snap.
Is it really? I still gotta play that. I'm telling you, I will be live streaming that on the channel, on Hidden Power. That's gonna be.
After yesterday's whole, there was a whole theory on Pokemon Snap, and I was like,
"Oh, that Kayla did?
I want to play this right now. I want to see it."
Yeah, that would be so.
Also,
sick.
You never told me that Xerneas was in the game. I'm trying to see Xerneas.
I have told you that several. Oh, comments, eat them alive.
He probably has. He probably has. I just don't remember. I think in the past you might have said it, but when I saw a picture of it, I was like, "Dang, I want to see this Pokemon."
It is not just in the game. It's like the final boss. Like it is the main Pokemon of the game. It's the Koraidon to Scarlet, Xerneas to Snap.
Yeah. I want to take a picture of it.
Well, you have to take lots of pictures of it, so.
Makes sense. I'm just looking through these as well.
I am too. I'm seeing
the
Absol.
Lotties, bro.
Yeah.
The Lotties.
No,
Lotties,
but the Lotties are beautiful because they're Dragon Psychic. That's
They did
so
not
pure.
need Psychic though. They could.
No,
should
they
be
do.
Dragon
Yeah, they
Flying.
do.
No,
It's-
they need Psychic.
They're
Tell 'em, Luna.
telepathic
Tell
with
'em,
each
Luna.
other.
I know, but they're literally jet planes. Like they should be
Okay.
flying.
Yeah, and
But
what
they're
is in a
also-
jet plane? A human
that's-
brain.
That's so boring. If like they just go, it's literally a fish, water. It's literally a plane flying.
I
It's
think the
literally
reason. I think the reason they did it is because they gave Dragon Flying to Rayquaza, and that's it.
Yeah,
Because that's the reason.
but Dragon Psychic
Maybe.
is so much cooler.
Dragon
Is
Psychic
it?
is so
You know?
cool. You better think so. It's your favorite Pokemon's type too.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway,
Anyway,
And especially you
I
have
think
to
they should be
think
flying.
It is really cool in Gen 3 because like Psychic, again was such a powerful type. Psychic was the special dragon,
Yeah, yeah.
and Dragon was the physical Psychic, essentially, like in the sense that they were both these absurdly strong typings. So then they drop this Pokemon on you, and they're like, it's both, and it's like, what?
let's all be thankful that Piplup is not a water flying type.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that wouldn't
Yeah.
be awful, but we probably wouldn't end up with a water steel type.
Yeah, but who would?
Yeah.
What Piplup? What are we talking about here?
It also could have been water ice, honestly, that long.
It could have been, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Water steel is sweet though. Like I feel lucky. I feel
So
blessed.
far,
that we have
the
that.
only water steel type.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exclusive to a starter, which I think is the only that's the only case of that where a type is exclusive to a starter. I think that's only Empoleon.
Interesting. I think another thing we could have got is Lumineon being water flying type just because it's the butterfly fish. Not that it's a good reason to give it to it, but that is definitely a possibility.
I could see it.
Right.
I think it should be ground because it walks on the seafloor.
I think Pokemon does this thing too often, which is fine, but it's kind of annoying where they go, ooh, I'll use this example, right? We need more water type fish Pokemon for Unova. And they just think of a bunch of ideas. I think this happened with Ghost and Grass type. They were like, we need Ghost and Grass type Pokemon. And then they thought of like 20 ideas, and we've been getting Ghost and Grass, Dark and Grass type Pokemon, like just up the wazoo. Like I'm just sick of it.
Yeah.
It's like they brainstorm on one thing, and then we get a ton. We get a ton of it.
For sure. Yeah.
That's like water. That's like the water and flying type with. Anyways, I think we're done. I've lost some momentum because my mouse
Because
died.
your mouse,
And I think
your
we've
mouse
also-
is done.
Oh, here another great Pokemon that could be a flying type, but I'm also glad it's not a flying type. Is Grass and Fairy, is Whimsicott, right?
Yeah, it's another typical. That's the thing with what you were saying about Jumpluff. It's like all those other Pokemon could have got that too.
It's
easily.
true. Yeah.
Eldegoss and Whimsicott like flying in the wind.
Yeah, so I guess my closing thoughts on the flying type is that I feel like it's been distorted. It's got a bad reputation. I wish there was a bird type, and I wish there was like a wind type. They literally should break those up and be so much more interesting.
I do not wish that there was a bird type, but I do wish that they would make more wind Pokemon, like wind air based.
Yeah.
That's all. Because
that would be nice.
It's fine if they become like the birds are the air type as well.
Yeah.
But the way that Pokemon did it with just being like flying type, it makes it feel like if they fly, they qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. If they fly, they qualify.
Bars.
They qualify. Man, it's just
That's a good Pokemon name, actually.
qualify.
Fly.
It's like a quill. It's like a.
I don't know
that'd be
what
cool.
would qualify.
Because I'm even looking at Reshiram and Zekrom, and I'm like, they fly. There's a
Yeah.
world where they have a flying type.
They have
And I'm
wings.
Definitely.
so glad they don't.
Yes.
I'm so glad that they're Dragon Electric.
So
Gen
what
5.
you're saying is, in the end of this, as a summary, that the flying type is as boring as people thought, and it's also like not needed on a lot of Pokemon.
It's
Like
not.
we don't need the flying type on so many
This
Pokemon.
is-
We'd rather have sound on a lot
But
of Pokemon.
we
Yeah,
do need
totally.
the flying type on Tyrantrum. Be sure to like, subscribe.
I feel like we probably missed a few here, though. Like, there was some that you scrolled over that I was like, but whatever,
Yeah.
There's some that you're like, oh, that could.
Well, you see
like,
it as a
why?
flying type, but then you think, well, but it could also be a fairy. It could also be a
Vikavolt.
ghost.
It could also be the type
Vikavolt.
that they gave it.
Well,
like bug electric is way better than bug flying.
Oh,
why,
absolutely.
But why is it better? Because you just like bugs? Because I would say the bug type is also just as irrelevant, right? We don't have a
That's
mammal
not true
type
at all.
We don't have a
You're
fish
irrelevant.
type. We have.
The bug type is the perfect type.
I don't think so.
Amen.
That's what it is. Because all of its designs are just bugs that are great.
Yeah, but
that's it.
But it's on an elemental power. This
Yeah,
is
but
what
they're
I'm
not
getting.
an elemental
The
power.
flying type is
Monsters.
just a bug. The flying type is just a bird type, which is kind of lame.
The bug
It's
type
not,
is
though.
not that. It is bug monsters. Instead, the flying type is just birds.
Birds, yeah, literally
flying
normal
type-
birds.
Have you all learned nothing from this video? The flying type is more than birds. It's your bats, your humans who hide their areas in a cloud. It's your,
Their
your
areas.
dragons, your sea serpents. The flying type is anything it wants to be. and
Flapple
that's
should be
what's
flying
beautiful
type.
about
Flapple should be flying type.
No,
So-
it
it. It
shouldn't.
learns
That's the
fly
thing,
by
though.
level up.
Yeah,
But
So-
it shouldn't because grass and dragon is so much better. It's
Yeah.
like you don't want to every time. Frostmoth should be
It could be
ice and
flying type.
flying.
It
Ice
could be,
Cube's
but
a
it's a
bird.
bug type.
maybe. That's not bug type's fault though. That's because Game Freak made bug type so weak. That's all.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Let us know if you think the flying type should be broken up into two new
No.
types. Let us know if you like the flying type. I think this was a fun exercise. The flying type is,
Vast.
It's vast, but it's also kind of
The
underwhelming.
flying type is one of the 18 types of Pokemon, and no one can take that away from it.
Literally that. Yeah, literally that.
The people that got to the end of
The
this
flying
video,
type exists, and
the people that got
is-
to the end of this video will be like, man, they tried and they realized. I'm sorry if flying type is your favorite type.
Yeah.
I actually like
it might be
like it.
one of mine. Yeah.
I actually like it too. I like it.
Like I think like literally Pokemon like Shiftry would be so much more cool. I mean the dark type is fine on it, but if wind type was a type, like it would have. And I think this is why it could be so good. I feel like it's missed potential because it's not even that good competitively, right? Like it needs something
all right.
else.
All right.
It's all right. It's just all right.
There's some that are good.
It's like normal.
I think
Chien
I
Pao.
really mean that about Cloth.
Chien Pao would be so cool with a wind type.
like just running through the air.
Yeah, dude.
Dreamtail would work for the same reasons we said Jigglypuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So we want to thank our supporters. First off, we want to thank our mythical tier supporters: Soul the Skeleton, Trash Panda, Rhinestole, Brandon, Candace Wendy's, and Case. We want to thank our Arceus supporters, a very great deal: Vinay Purum, Hayes, and SEH Art Gold. And last but certainly not least, in fact, very, very much not least, we want to
first.
give a super gigantic, a Dynamaxed shout out to our Game Freak Inc. level supporters, Drogain and Bramtastic.
Let's go,
Thank you
guys.
all
Let's
so
go.
much.
The fact that
You
these are
guys
coming
don't
through.
have to get the flying type.
yeah, yeah.
You
The
can
fact that
be
these are
whatever
still
type
you
want.
guys are sticking with us through the months. Through the weeks. I'm loving it so much. It's been a weird period making videos this time of year, but you guys are getting us through. The channel is growing so much. We've got so much bonus content on our archive. We're growing. We got so many new ideas coming up. We got new guests coming up. All three of us were talking yesterday about some new ways to make new types of content, which means more weekly episodes for you guys. We got a lot of stuff in the works. If you want to support Hidden Power, if you want to see more content like this, and if you want your name to be shouted out, if you want to join our secret Discord, watch more bonus episodes, there's going to be a link in the description to become a Patreon supporter, or you can support right here on YouTube and get all of those videos right here on YouTube. Appreciate
If
you
you
guys
want
so
to share
much.
this with Mr. Beast so that he comes on our show and then we rise the
honestly,
ranks.
did
That'd be pretty cool.
I honestly think if you guys do have friends who like Pokemon, share it with them, right? That's the best way we could. If you want to help support us, share this video with a friend. But yeah, thank you guys. Good to talk to you guys. Love you guys.
Yeah.
And I love you guys. I'll see you soon.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Good morning. Yeah.
Right. They're the ones who are here at the end. Yeah.
Let me find a charger.
I want to
for my
know
mouse.
what they think about the flying type. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
You can read them while Dusty's not here.
Oh,
Should we do that to him? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe we
I don't know
shouldn't
how
do
he'd feel about that. Did he say where he was going, or did he just leave?
it. He
Which
said,
means
"You know
we
what?"
can say anything we want. Jeremy is not that good.
What other ones does he like? What does he like? But you can't say anything you want because he's the one that edits these, bro.
A Spathra isn't a bird. What even is that? Of course it's a bird.
He's gonna see this when he edits it.
Oh,
Dang, he really up and left. He really said, "Flying types, this is how I feel about you."
Oh, there you are, Dusty. We were just talking about you. All good things.
What were you saying?
Bro, Gogoat should get a flying evolution.
No.
Gogoat.
What?
Yeah, like Thor's
Based
goats.
off of Thor's goats.
Yeah, just like
I see
running
the
up in the
vision.
sky.
I
Yeah.
see the vision.
Interesting.
Saying.
Yeah, maybe.
The
Are
flying
you
type is not that bad. The
Fascinating.
flying type is
are
fun.
you wanting me to thank the supporters? You just kind of left, so I wasn't sure if I should or not.
No, I told you I had to get a charger for my mouse.
He was scrambling. He was like, "Where's it?"
But I gotta
Okay,
know.